What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz back again with another retrospective video for the whole year. Not a lot happened this year, but we're going to try to go through everything that did happen. And we'll make another tier list. We'll go through some recent stats that were published and go over just sort of everything that happened this year. Of note, again, not a lot, but to compensate, we've pulled in a lot of guests. Gonna go through everybody here. So obviously me, Andy, and Brian, who you're all familiar with.
I'm here, as usual, yes.
Hey, what's up? I'm accomplished and a guest.
All of our past guests that we've had over the year, except for Dean. Dean couldn't make it. We got Ollie.
Hi, what's up?
Haru.
Hi.
Jason.
Hello.
Dan.
Hi.
Brian.
What's up, guys?
Nico.
Здравствуйте.
And then we also have Kit
Hello.
and Hanson.
Hello.
Tried to get in a lot of people this time, a lot of different viewpoints, because, like I said, not a lot happened this year. Other than, like, WSI, and at least for English, obviously, it's an English retrospective video. But we can talk about all sorts of stuff. So, there's a lot of people on this video, so we're going to start out with just what sets were released this year. Started out with Goblin Slayer, followed by Alicization, then JoJo's, then Fujimi, then Bang Dream Volume 2, Slime, ReZero, Nazarick, also known as Overlord, Konosuba Legend of Crimson, Adventure Time, and Mob Psycho. That's every set that came out this year. So, that is, what, 10 sets? Out of all this... 11? Can't count. 11. Yeah, can't count.
That is 11, yeah.
Out of all the sets that came out this year, which do you guys think had, like, the most impact?
Slime. Easily Slime.
Slime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% slime.
Yes.
Shut up, Brian.
Definitely
Like-
slime.
Yes.
No show.
I mean,
I mean, we
Slime-
do love Konosuba.
I think
well-
Slime solely because it's a standalone set. Konosuba
Yeah.
is going to do a lot, but you'd have to have a lot of the old stuff.
Right.
Konosuba was already good. It just made it
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
That too.
So,
It's
Like, Legend of Crimson isn't impactful in like the how do I word it? In like the usual sense that we use that word, because it was already a good top tier deck and it didn't change because of the new set. Even though like the deck itself might change, it's still up there exactly where it used to be.
Yeah,
They probably
give-
just cemented
give a
its
good
play
set more
more.
options.
Future proofs the set.
Two big English exclusives this year. Adventure Time, everyone's hyped for that. Mob Psycho, maybe people not as hyped, but still an English exclusive nonetheless.
I think people were hyped up for Mob. I feel like once they
Yeah.
spoiled all the cards, people like died down a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
after people played with it a little bit,
less than
they weren't
18
like
for
as
sure.
impressed.
well, didn't leave much to be impressed by.
the deck was
Yeah.
pretty lackluster.
Unfortunately.
The
Leaves a
trade
lot
made it
to be desired.
little rough, yeah.
Hopefully, Mob 2, English exclusive part 2. Let's
Please,
go.
yeah.
Be nice.
Bang Dream, a little unfortunate. Sort of fell flat. Maybe if that set came sooner and like
That
we
set
had a
came-
season, that could have done more. But
Bang Dream can disappear. It's okay.
at this point, like, I don't know. How many of these sets are unfortunately like dead on arrival when arrival
JoJo.
being when
Out Station,
Lord.
JoJo, Memory Snow,
like
Mob, probably.
Seven.
Bang Dream.
yeah, 7 of them.
Fujimi lost its chance to be good. I
7
think,
of the 13.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's
I
too
think
Yeah,
Fujimi would have been something.
Yeah,
at
if
the time
Fujimi
it
had a
came
chance
out,
to play in like, if it was an actual circuit, Fujimi probably would have saw like maybe a
Some top,
decent amount of
yeah.
success.
Yeah, Fujimi and Goblin Slayer, I think, really missed their chance to like do anything with Springfest season disappearing.
Mhm. Actually,
I don't know.
tragic.
I think
they
Goblin
missed
Slayer's still
baseball.
going to be fine. Goblin Slayer's still going to be
I-
fine.
I think Goblin Slayer might still have like
It'll
a
be
chance.
fine, but it lost its chance to reign. Like it was like it was positioned to be like one of the better decks in the format when it
Yep.
came out, and since the circuit didn't happen, it didn't have that chance, and now it's like it's not gonna be one of like the best go-to decks anymore. It's just gonna be like a good
A
deck.
good deck, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think Fujimi could still maybe like see some success. And I
No.
think
No.
I am a believer of Memory Snow too. I think Memory Snow,
No.
depending on how like metas
No
shape
lie.
up, could like
No.
become fringe
There-
relevant sometimes.
There's no meta that Memory
I think
Snow
there's
would be
anyone with
better than
Memory
anything
Snow.
else
Like,
ever.
Yeah. We could say that about like Japanese meta. but
Mhm.
that never
I mean,
happened
English-
for
I
Fujimi,
think-
that never happened for Memory Snow, and
I
we're just
think
getting
English meta is
Japanese
like
meta over here.
yeah, it's basically just Japanese meta now. Honestly, like we've gotten to the point where like we're basically just very very close to how Japan is gonna be, with just less sets, but the same sets are gonna be the big
Mm-hmm.
standards to be playing.
Format's changed a lot in 2 years from like its own sort of like weird,
Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
more aggressive thing to like very
To
close
Japan
to
Light.
Japanese. Yeah, JP Light. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with the sets that English started bringing over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like they
Slime's
started
the
bringing
big one.
high quality sets.
Al, Slime,
Oh, damn.
the Konosuba movie, and Goblin Slayer. I think all kind of pushed it in that direction.
Yeah.
And
And then,
Goblin
and then the sets that are coming out don't also help that either.
At all.
Slayer.
Oh, Fate too. Fate also pushed it in that
Yeah,
direction.
Feel.
Mhm.
Fate was like one of the bigger like signs that it was going to start going that way.
Mhm.
All right.
You know, here we are.
Well, let's move on to the first and only real event that happened for English this year, which was WSI. A lot of
Yeah.
people in this very call got to participate in it. Gonna break down the set representation here first. So 5 Sal, 4 Bang Dream, 4 Goblin Slayer, 4 Konosuba, 3 Love Live Sunshine, 3 AOT, 2 Fate, 2 ReZero, 1 Cardcaptor Sakura, 1 Review, 1 Fujimi, 1 JoJo, 1 Batman Ninja. Notably, one of those Sword Art Onlines is a Sword Art Alicization, so you can break that up however you'd like, 4 and 1. But yeah, Riaz Rep and Alice. I think this is like about expected for like this kind of event, right?
I think Sao was extremely high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sal was
Sword Art's broken,
overrepresented.
right, guys?
Yeah, Sword Art I think had a little too much representation, honestly.
Yeah, Sword Art shook me.
Even for Bang Dream was a little surprising.
No, I don't think I was surprised by that as much as Sao.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just people playing what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I think a lot of
probably,
people
yeah.
just have so.
Yeah.
Comfort
Didn't
list.
EU really like Sal even at that point still? Too?
Yes,
there was
yes.
a lot of
But
EU.
everyone who was on Sal except for was it Riaz was from EU at the time? I don't really
I think
remember.
Well,
EU or
Riaz is also
Australia.
on Alicization, so
Yeah,
I don't
one of
even know
the
if
he
that's
did
one of the Sal was Australia.
Okay.
Wasn't he playing the Una deck? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was like I
It
think
was
it
a
was
spicy list.
Bard Door with the heal counter, or it was Bard Stand. It was one of those.
it was Gara Sao, but it played the heal stuff instead of like
Mhm.
to supplement some of like the JP stuff it was missing.
Man after Andy's heart.
But
Yeah, really.
I think what really shook me was the lack of Fate. Even between that like Worlds and
Yeah.
and WSI, like
Mhm.
Fate was just nowhere, and all of a sudden now everybody's like, yeah, Fate, best deck, woo!
There were like rumors of the what is it? People were discussing how the best of 3 format could like affect the game, and I know I got baited into like playing Love's Life Sunshine and be like, damn, I only have to flip 3 on Yo this many times. You know that thinking doesn't actually track. So Fate reigned supreme. Fate spoiler alert. Fate did pretty well. This event.
I mean, it was Fate and Konosuba basically took over the event, and what was more surprising was that Fate was 2 showings, Konosuba was double that. So
I think like every pick down here in the ones is like mostly a total outlier, except for what is it like? I think what was it? Was Clinton on Fujimi, and then
No, Clinton was
It
AOT.
was on AOT.
Clinton was
AOT.
Fujimi was
The Australian guy, right?
Lam
Lamb,
from Australia.
Lamb, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
second place at Worlds.
Okay.
hmm
And then the Cardcaptor Soccer list was the specialist.
It was
David.
David.
Marco.
Yeah, David.
Fourth at
Yeah.
Worlds.
Marco?
David.
David.
No, David. Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously June was Batman Ninja.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got some of those cases, dude.
Nando was JoJo.
Marquee
Yeah,
Nando
manipulation.
was JoJo.
He was on that,
Nando's
like,
JoJo.
He had the really spicy JoJo list.
Yeah.
The pop back combo, the door combo.
Yeah, it was very bad, unfortunately.
Thank you, Jason. I'm glad somebody said
Yeah.
Ugh.
You call it spicy all you want, but shit was bad.
it. I just remember like popping into like Discord calls and people were feeling like, "No, Nico,
Oh, yeah, like,
this
people
is
were
actually
justifying
good," and I'm
it.
just like, "No, I don't see it, homie. I'm sorry."
Yeah. ReZero being a 2 of was like understandable.
It was
I
just
think most of the
Yabi and
representation.
Yabi.
Yeah.
I think
Cameron.
all of the
Cameron.
reps outside of Sao being high and Fate being low seemed about reasonable to me. Like, a couple outliers are going to be there, especially because I don't think WSI was like a super serious like event for a lot of people, so they
Like someone
let it
said,
go.
very comfort pick. I think Andy said it right.
Yeah.
It's like comfort picking.
Well, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how much you consider
Yeah.
like Ryu and JoJo comfort picks, but I mean, more power to those guys.
I mean,
Well,
more
I
in like
mean-
these high reps, like Bang Dream and Sal, right?
Matchup knowledge and like knowing every fringe interaction your deck has. I mean, it's something that regardless of like how the format changes. I mean, that's still important.
You're still. I don't know, man. I think JoJo could know all the matchups in the world. It's still playing JoJo. Like,
Well, not so much JoJo. That's more for Sal and BD, right? Like,
Right.
oh, sure, yeah.
all right. Well,
I
we
guess
can
I'll
get
give that one.
right into the results. Like we said, Fate did pretty well. Fate KS, Cardcaptor, Sakura, Alicization, followed by Goblin Slayer and Love Live Sunshine, tied for 5th, and then ReZero and Bang Dream 7th and 8th.
Quite a top 4.
It's a nice spread, yeah.
Diversity.
It was almost the exact same people as World's top 4. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Except for
Maybe there's
Matt,
some.
right?
Maybe there's
Matchmaker.
something to this
Yeah,
Cardcaptor Sakura deck.
replace Matt with Lam. And that was
That's
What was,
'cause I
what was
wasn't
Matt?
there
What was
as
Matt
a
playing
mage.
at Worlds? Do you remember?
he didn't qualify for Worlds.
Oh, he
Oh,
didn't.
Matt,
Oh, he
yeah,
wasn't there?
Matt lost to Mauricio in top 8 at Australia, and then
Oh, so he was
Mauricio ended up
just hanging out?
qualifying. Yeah,
Mm,
And Mauricio
Oh.
played Fate, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
yeah, Mauricio was the other Fate.
Me, him, and Kit. Let's get
Yep.
it. You.
Fate's a sick
Yeah,
deck.
I mean, there were a lot of people that said they were gonna play Fate, and then they all just fucking jumped off it.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mhm.
pretty
The
crazy.
Fate mirror is pretty suffering. Not
I
gonna
think
lie.
there was a lot of
Yeah.
fear about how Fate would play.
no
like
one wanted to
Konosuba.
go into it.
I thought Fate and Konosuba was fine for the most part.
Well,
but-
yeah, but I mean, like that was like a talking point.
yeah.
People were like very convinced for a while that it was Konosuba favored matchup. But I think it's
Aw.
very close to like an even matchup.
I mean, I think as long as you don't commit your fucking resources to Rider, it's not skewed to Konosuba. So if you try to play the Rider, then yeah, you're gonna just lose.
Yeah.
But
Get
How's the
rocked by
matchup
that
now
deck.
with the new Konosuba set?
it's just as bad. If you commit to Rider, they're just gonna grab the door and they're just gonna kick the Rider. They're gonna move on.
I mean, yeah, you don't commit to Rider, but outside of that,
I don't
Konosuba
think-
did
I don't
get
think the
new
matchup
tools.
is-
It's probably pretty
Doesn't
similar.
change. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't
their gameplay doesn't change. Sao just still hits themselves. Fate hits themselves to 1 as soon as possible. They secure their 1 or 2 reverses that they need to play the game, and they pre-field their bombs, and then they make the Oboro deck have to
At least
deal with that
side,
card.
yeah.
And they're going to be slamming bars every turn. And then Megumin has to keep playing doors to keep up, and they can't always do that as easily as Sao can play, as Fate can play the bars, right?
Yeah.
Because they're never going to want to crash into the.
Because after the first turn, they
bomb.
don't care what bar they're playing anyway. Like they're not going
Yeah.
for reverses, especially against Konosuba, so it doesn't really matter. They're
And
just
they never
slamming
want to
the
crash into
climax.
They never want to crash the Oboros into the bombs because
And
then
even
they lose
against
harder
the,
than Fate does.
Even against the 5th door top end, they also like I'm pretty sure most people are running Fate Zero Riders too. That's like a really cool out to
Yeah.
that situation. So, which we saw in WSI. Obviously, if you guys are interested in any of these games, I'll link those in the description. You can see a playlist of all the games that were played in WSI, including the top 8 games, with commentary. All those games are recorded and archived, so you can see how these decks played out, as well as the results. So, which is really cool. Shout out to the
What was the
ENTCG
Big
for
Green
that.
deck?
It was oh my god, I'm blank. It was Hatsu. Hatsu
That was
playing.
Hatsu, the
Should have
the Fever
been
Mocha, right?
Yeah, it was
Hatsu Mocha.
Fever Mocha.
Fever Mocha. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
And then that was Yavi was 7th, right, with 3-0.
Yeah, Yabi was 7th with 3-0, and then it was
And Patrick was 5th.
Patrick was 5th, and then Broderick was 5th.
Right.
Mhm.
Ria's at 4th.
Yeah,
David at
Riaz,
3rd.
David.
Who's second?
Ryan,
Riaz made such a
Ryan.
good run with fucking
Ryan?
Alicization.
Ryan
Yeah.
Matt.
Wow. Kidding.
I was really impressed by Riaz's run with Alicization though.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
surprising.
He
The
made
people
that deck
hero.
look way better than I think it actually is, but
I mean,
Same
that
thing with
deck.
David.
That deck is like, it's like fucking Yukina. It's like the same
Yeah.
kind of deck.
Yeah.
You do your
I
own
mean,
thing and you
Very,
get there.
very
You
similar.
get
there
there.
were a lot of situations where David clearly just won off the high roll. Not to say, not to like, disregard him, but like he had luck on his side in a lot of those matchups. That was kind of
but-
crazy.
His games were wild. Definitely go watch his games. Yeah.
It was like he played the beginning and middle of the games fine, but when it came to like the ends of the games, there were some moments where it was just like you could just tell this man was just on his high for
I'll
that
be
game.
honest.
He was in the flow state.
Yeah, I heard the Ultra Instinct theme play in the background for him.
Yeah, like insane.
I mean, that's
But he's done it
Weiss,
twice
though.
now.
Yeah,
He's done
that
it
is
twice.
Weiss. Yeah, 2 times.
No. He did it at Worlds. He was what, 4th at Worlds or 3rd?
He was 4th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he clearly doing something right with it, right? If he's doing like, I'm not like trying to disregard his like prowess with it or anything, but it's like there were some matches where it was like, oh, dude, Divi's dead. It's over. It's over.
Yeah,
Oh, what's up,
definitely
man?
go watch his games. They're very fun, wild, powerful
Very
games with
exciting.
good play on both sides. Very exciting. Yeah.
Caused a lot
Exciting
of
games.
argument about card capture soccer.
Yeah.
Amongst people.
Consistent top's got to mean something, though.
Yeah, it was cool with WSI to not have the like bystander effect for once, like the non-present bystander effect, where people talk about results without knowing like the context of what happened, because everyone saw the games. So that was a cool part of WSI that like hadn't been seen before. Real
That
first for
everything's being
Weiss.
recorded.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everything being recorded meant a lot, and it was really fun to be in. Again, shout out to Ian TCG and the WSI group for putting that together. That event was a lot of fun to play in and a lot of fun to watch. So definitely go check out the VODs. Anything else on
Definitely-
WSI?
No.
Nope. You were gonna say something, Dan. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna definitely brought a lot of hype to Weiss when the little like lull because of COVID sets and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
What's
really
up?
sparked a lot of interest.
I think Anime Evo was like big too.
That was
Like
another,
really bringing
yeah.
the game to like
Mhm.
the general audience. Being like, oh
Yeah.
wow, there's like this. What's this card game doing at Evo? And why are there anime characters here?
Yeah. That we didn't put. I didn't put slides for that because obviously it was a JP only event. But our boy Andy here top 8 at that event. And that event was also one of the bigger things that happened this year, like in general. Which also had a lot of recorded games. So if you're interested in the JP side of the game, if you want a preview of what English will be like, because there was a lot of Dow in that tournament, you can go check out those videos.
Yeah, a lot of Dell.
You know, you guys say there's a lot of Dow, but there was also a lot of Psychono.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
not getting Psychono in English. We're getting Dal in English.
Speaking-
Also true.
Gonna be more
Speaking
Dal.
of things coming to English going forward,
Nice segue.
so Fate Grand Order literally just came out like the past week, which is
Mhm.
going to be followed by Frozen Bonds, Data Live, both Magia Record, both Mobage Set and Anime, and then Bofree, Fate, Heaven's Feel, and Kaguya. This is everything that we have announced currently going forward. Things that are meta relevant. What are we thinking here, guys?
ReZero,
and Data
Dal.
Live.
Yeah, ReZero and
Maybe,
Dow.
maybe Madoka.
I think
No.
Madoka could do something after it gets both the boosters.
No, I don't think so.
Really? I
think
thought
it will.
Nico,
side
you
looks
and Ryan
looks
are like
really
the
good.
Madoka experts. You don't think you're gonna make something happen with it?
No.
No.
I thought you guys were like.
I love how
They're
everybody's
so
willing to give credit
pessimistic.
for Madoka
They're-
except the actual Madoka players.
They're so pessimistic about it, man. Every time they play against
Like-
me with that deck, it's just like explosions happening.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I mean, when the deck goes off, it goes off. It's just that it doesn't pop off
think-
every single game.
I think Kaguya could be there as well, honestly.
Kaguya has
Kaguya.
the potential
Well-
to be good.
Lots of good cards, still has a good top end. Seems like it could it won't I don't think it'll be like
I think-
whoa, top 3 deck of the format, but I think it's like gonna be one of those decks you still have to be careful of. 'cause
It'll be
it,
pretty solid. Yeah.
Still gonna
I
be
mean,
around. I think the
popular
level 1
anime.
will look back maybe, but
Definitely without a shadow of a doubt, though. Data Live and Green
Mhm.
Zero.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Mikasa's
Green
always
Zero.
We kind of ran over Ryan on the Madoka stuff.
Oh.
Ryan, you want to talk about that?
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
He
Little
hates,
projection.
Ryan hates
Alright.
Madoka.
No, I love Madoka.
What about
You don't-
both three?
hates it in
it's
English.
flavorful, dude. It's suffering.
It,
Hopefully
I mean, playing the
suffering.
deck is actual suffering.
Can confirm.
Yeah,
Bofree's
just
Bushy
like
Red
the magical
Cheese.
girls.
I guess
It's
in
so
the
flavorful.
universe where you somehow don't hit 3 on your brainstorm, that deck could be bad.
You're the magical girl. You just suffer the whole time.
What did you say, Nico? Show me on the doll where Madoka touched you.
Yeah.
I always cue into Nico and Ryan when they're high rolling with Madoka, so I'm pretty biased. I don't know. I still think that the time rules for English might give Madoka
But I
something.
think, like, bringing up an old Discord discussion, like, I think if we're even talking about time rules, I'd just rather have slime anyway. If we're talking about
Yeah, I
pure
think
like
so.
if we're talking like pure like meta picks, I'm like I'll just take slime.
Yeah, if you want to time scum people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, will both of you do any?
No.
As much as Kaguya.
Yeah, I think
Eight
I
standby
think less than Kaguya. No, 8 standby Bofuri is like
It's
on
a
the
deck.
so 8-0.
It's a deck. It's like,
Yeah.
did they draw their woolies? Did they not draw their woolies? Like, that's my experience with that deck.
It's also just one of those decks where it's like it actually hurts so bad if you hit too many standbys in the deck because you lack like later on like really impactful standby cards.
You
So it's
set
like,
your Kakutuses up and you're kind of done.
Yeah, you're like, all right, that's like the best thing I got. What's my next standby target? Oh, nice, 3-2-11 Ks.
Because your
Okay.
other
Well,
level
yeah,
3s are EP healers, right?
I definitely think that 8 standby is probably wrong, but 6 standby door seems to be.
No, I don't think that deck's any better.
I played that one. I played that one. It's a little better. It's a little better.
Because
but,
you
I don't think
actually
it's
do
like-
something, right? It gives you
I've been
something
playing the Milk
It
Tea
does do
deck.
something.
The Milk Tea deck is a lot better than I thought, which is 8 book. But
Eight
like
book?
that, like I think he literally says it in the article, which I read through Google Translate. So obviously this might be just completely wrong. It's like, you know, the things the set has are like the unique things just aren't strong enough. So you'd rather play something that was like a lot more vanilla but a lot more consistent, which is what the 8 book deck is. It's like giving up. It's the best form of giving up. Where 8 book is the Sachi type combo where you get the camera and then the Sally TD restander, which has been fun.
I mean, Buffer's got
the
level down on
restander's
a body.
interesting choice.
Level down on a body, yeah. Well, you know, going back to Dow, we have unrestricted level down. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Level
Bofuri
down
also just
coming to an English near you.
every standby Bofuri deck also just like loses to that fucking.
how doomer do we want to be about Data Life? Because
Yeah.
I'm full doomer about Dow.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Yeah.
pretty doomer. Yeah.
Like honestly, once it comes out,
Games ruined.
I fully expect it to be like 80% of the field.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna be pretty sick in a Data Live.
Do you guys think there's
What?
a possibility
The
of
10-5 hex-proof and Precone.
yeah, it'd be cool.
What were you asking, Paru?
do you think that Data Live is actually going to cause like a ban list, like a real ban list?
I think they're strong.
I fully expect it. I think
It's
it's actually.
a pretty high possibility.
If it was ever going to happen,
Would you say
Bushy Road
Henson?
English-
Sorry.
precedent.
They
like,
know what
'cause
they're
Attack
doing.
on
They
Titan
know
didn't have any,
exactly
like,
what they're
hits.
doing.
No, they don't.
But
Yeah, they do. No.
Yeah,
They know exactly what they're
exactly
doing.
what they're
They
doing.
probably wanted to make a ban list for years, but everyone's like, "Oh, my AOT, my Sunshine, my whatever. You can't my Sword Art. You can't ban my deck." But now they're like, "Okay, you guys don't want a ban list? All right, here's unrestricted Data Live. You'll come crawling back to us in like a couple months. You'll be begging us
Tell
for
me
a
you
ban
don't want a
list."
ban
That's a
list.
good take. I like that.
I mean, I think my problem with it is that they're going to still hurt people that are investing in this set
Mm-hmm.
by creating a ban list sooner than later than us doing it right away, right? Like they're taking the money approach and going like, oh, but they can just buy it first. It's fine, and then we'll hit it when they're when they're done with it. We'll hit it.
I remember
Yeah,
what is
but
it?
I mean, even with let's say like they copy paste the Japanese restriction, like the choose 3 list. I think Data Live's still like
Absolutely not.
best set in the format.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
I mean,
no,
what's ban list? We assume Fate's getting hit too.
no.
Why would Fate get hit in English?
What do you mean?
don't
Why?
think so.
Because Fate's also a ridiculously good deck and was tier 0 for a while in JP.
Yeah.
I thought they had a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
we
but
could-
I think
Only
I don't
one
think they-
card.
I don't think
It's
they care about.
card.
It's an important
the
card.
only
The only
difference, the
problem.
only difference between English Fate and Japanese Fate when it comes to the meta build is one single card.
It was the 3/3 event.
It's like a one
yeah,
of
the 3/3 event, and it was like a 2 of. It was like a 2 to 3 of, I think.
It's
Yeah,
a 2 to
most.
3 of, yeah.
I think
That
that's
was-
kind of underselling how important that card was for how annoying that deck was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
I thought there was more stuff though. There's like a choose 5 list, isn't there? Like,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Yeah,
technically
yeah,
a
but-
choose
we
four
had
list.
every other card.
There was
It's
another.
technically a choose 4 list.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
technically a choose 4, but English has every card except for the event.
One of the cards is just a reprint of.
Yeah, there's
yeah,
there's
yeah,
two free
both
freshes.
Both of the free freshes are on the ban list, but one of the free freshes is just a reprint of the old one because the old one was a tournament PR.
Yeah,
so you
I mean-
could technically run like 8 copies before, but I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, you could
yeah.
technically run 8 free freshes before.
some people
Well, no, you
ran
couldn't.
5.
That
That was a thing.
You couldn't. It was They had
They
the
sh-
same name or
They share the
something.
same name?
right?
No, they don't. Have the
No,
same-
There was
no.
something that didn't let you do it.
There were lists
It-
with
it didn't-
5.
No,
Was
there's
there?
like a Conti card like that too. Like there's an Azusa that says like
The
this card's
copy of
name is
what you're
treated
after.
as.
The reprint, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was something that said you couldn't do it though. It
No,
wasn't there.
that's a
My
earlier
guy, I
reprint.
literally have the English version of the most recent card in front of me. It has a different name and it does not.
Well,
have
no,
it.
I don't care about the English version. Didn't the Japanese like have
No,
something where
it
you
did
No,
No,
it
it
did
did
not.
not.
It did
There were
not.
there were
It was
lists
like
that were
the
ran
Ozza
5.
did that, right? The
The
Ozza literally
Ozza
says on
did.
it. You
The
can't.
Ozza
Yeah,
said
but
does.
Ozza just came out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably did that because the ban list existed. They didn't
I
have the
feel like
ban
I
list
remember
to like
seeing
have
that
to
one.
worry about when they made the reprint.
Mhm.
They weren't thinking about how it was
Well,
going to affect the deck.
I mean, I have the cards open right now. They have different names.
Yeah.
I was just double checking.
Anyway, the 3-3 event was a 3-3 event, obviously. That healed that healed 3. It healed 3 and went to memory. Effectively,
Yep.
what that did for Fate was say that you have to kill this deck from 3-0 or they continue to play the game.
Yep.
It made the deck a lot more obnoxious than it already was. But I do think that if we see a Dow ban list, we'll probably see a Fate like restriction to like remain consistent. But we'll see. We have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bushi C is really fucking dumb. They could do something really stupid, like just ban Dow and let Fate go, and then Fate is like running wild, where it's like,
Or they hit Dow and Fate, and then Konosuba just comes out on top.
I mean, I think Konosuba and ReZero end up in a really good spot if that happens. But
Yeah.
Probably.
Watch them ban AOT.
But even in general, honestly, like I was talking about it in the Fate
No.
thing we did, but when like I was telling people like pick up the Shiro Sakura back or the Shiro Rider back row thing just in case, but
Mhm.
I still don't really think it's gonna happen.
probably not.
I think they're all on Dal as like the big problem,
Well,
and
I do-
at least at first it will only probably be a Dal thing that gets hit.
Yeah,
if they
because,
if
like-
anything gets hit.
Yeah.
Despite
know.
how good Fate is, it has had very low rep.
Yeah, I mean,
Overall.
World. We didn't have any. We had 3 of them at Worlds. The
Mhm.
closest one got was like 9th, and then
Mr.
WSI. If they had to actually look at it,
Mhm.
right? Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, are
Fate
you gonna
only,
look at WSI
Heavens,
for results? Probably not.
Heavens Feel only, I'm pretty sure only came out for Worlds, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It came out.
Yeah.
It came out like I think it was the day before the Australia WGP.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
It had a single
Okay.
event.
it's had one event in Worlds.
Wait, wasn't the Australia WGP on a Friday? So it came out the day of.
Yeah.
It might have been the
Might
day
have
of. Yeah, it might have been the day of, but it wasn't technically out for Australia.
But yeah, and just in general, it's like, I mean, they could just to be like, yeah, let's be fair. Fair is fair if we're gonna. But so far they've only addressed Dal with saying any like we'll handle it if something is if there's a problem. So I'm led to believe it's only Dal that's gonna be a thing. And if Dal gets
Yeah.
hit, I mean, Dal getting hit alone shapes up the format a lot because all of a sudden Fujimi's not a dead deck anymore. More variants of free are playable. Kaguya doesn't feel as punished.
Standby decks don't just
Um,
instantly lose for stealing
yeah.
across from Dal.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
you can actually play-
Kaguya
you can
loses
actually-
their level assist.
Yeah, you can play Overlord versus them. You can play Fate Go versus. You can play Fate Go now. Like a lot of standby decks came out in the last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we
Yeah.
acknowledge that we were looking at them, but like standby was pretty poppin'. And it will continue to be because of Kaguya and Bofuri also having standby variants. One of
Yeah.
them being more notable, one of them being better than the other. But
Can't forget
and then
about
Stand by
Now-
Kaguya is like the
can't
go.
Now
forget
it's now
about Bunny
itself.
Girl. Stand by Bunny.
yeah,
Girl.
haha.
Yeah.
Oh, we can forget about it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so like if we look at it, we have Fate Go, we have Dal, And the Dalmir is just cursed. Both for
Yeah, actually.
Ikagia.
Well, get ready to play a lot of it because I think
God.
So much.
So,
So
I
much
think
standby.
people are I think some English only players are very skeptical about all the people that like play JP or in scenes that are mixed and stuff like that for locals. They're very skeptical of like how strong DAO will actually be, and there's a lot of bargaining going on. Like I call it the bargaining phase, the 5 stages of DAO.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bargaining going
We
on.
gotta
and,
get to acceptance here.
yeah, you got to move to acceptance where you buy your DAO playset and you get ready to play DAO mirrors because it's gonna be bad. So DAO is sold out at the distributor level. I think that's pretty common knowledge at this point. Despite the pre-order window just recently closing, it was sold out like more than a week in front of the pre-order window closing, which is like pretty unheard of for English Weiss at this point. I don't know if that's happened for any set recently. That usually doesn't happen. If it does sell out, it usually sells out pretty close to the point where distributors were saying that they might like get a second print run that's how for an English set, which is also fairly unheard of. So get ready to see a lot of this set, despite your thoughts about whether or not it's as good as it's going to be. Spoiler alert: it's going to be like the entire fucking field. DAO is going to be really disgusting.
I think if you are a legitimately like quote unquote competitive player in this game and you're not picking up DAO, I think there's something wrong.
Yeah, you're making a mistake. Or like you already have Konosuba and you're gonna bank on just playing.
You're just gonna try to ride on Konosuba alone or something.
Fate?
Yeah.
You can't forget about Fate.
Or Fate, or Konosuba and Fate, yeah. But Konosuba, see, that's the other problem, right? Is that Konosuba and Fate require you to have old cards for the set to be at its best, where DAO is a self-contained set that you can get for $300 at some retailers. $300 playset from multiple different resellers.
Well, you could
Use code SPTCG Ryan, which you can't do anymore.
That doesn't work anymore.
Codes don't work anymore.
Type of hands.
I mean,
Slime
still
isn't
in the meta.
necessarily easy to get though. Like that's sold out super
at
quick
this
from a
point, I wouldn't
distributor
say
level
Slime's
too.
crazy. But Slime is.
Well,
a
no,
single
I'm just
set.
saying about the field, right?
Easier than
You have
Yeah, the
Fate.
field.
Yeah,
the field. You'll have Fate. You'll have
It's easier than Fate. It's easier than ReZero.
yeah.
Like
What's it called
ReZero also requires old cards, even if you're playing Green Zero.
Amelia combos are so expensive now. If you want to play book,
and then what's it called?
thanks Oliver, I love
So
you.
what? It's gonna be once DAO comes out, it's probably gonna be a 5-deck format,
5 or
Which is-
6.
Yeah, so like what, like
which is a lot better than I thought it'd be actually.
But it's
mean,
still
it's-
over centralized around one deck.
DAO, yeah.
Yeah, that's which is the problem.
Every deck is there to beat Dell, and
When
that's
we're-
probably why it's there.
Let's be honest here. When we're talking about DAO, we're talking about 8 standby. I want to clarify that right now. We're not talking about any other deck. We're talking about 8 standby. If the English community has like any brain in their head, they will obviously play 8 standby. The deck is
If they move the choice, it's like not even as big of a deal, honestly.
yeah. If they move to choice, I don't even give a shit. Like it's like playing into any deck with a dumb finisher. It's like playing into old Konosuba. Like actually, whatever. 8 standby. 8 standby is actually like a legitimate problem. If you go to a regional and you can expect more than half of your games to be DAO 8 standby, that's a hell world scenario. In my opinion.
Not as bad as unreleased Nisekoi.
Yeah, well, nothing can be that bad.
Unreleased, but... I don't know. JP
or
unreleased,
AOT,
Yeah.
English AOT when set 2 came out.
So before we move on here, I want to touch on Fate Heaven's Feel Volume 2. We just did that set review. Probably doesn't change a lot for English, right? We're probably staying bar or bar door, maybe. Like you pick up the new stuff. You pick up the new stuff that's relevant to you, but I think we're generally in consensus there. All of us.
I thought there was a lot of people who were saying like they thought 8 Gate was going to be like really hot. Like I thought it was like split down the middle what people wanted to play.
No.
When the
They
spoilers
all
are
changed
coming
their
out.
mind.
Did. A lot of them,
except for one person.
yeah, like at least half of them changed their mind. I would say, if we're being more like, honest
well,
about it.
for English, I did the like power numbers for like field. It literally doesn't matter for like Rin to Sakura. So, and you always get to level 1 first anyway, so you might as well just play the 8 bars or bar door if you really want to.
I agree.
Because it adds a lot to the deck. You lose stock swap. Losing stock swap, level 1 stock swap's a big draw to Fate.
Yeah.
The stock swap and just the whole bar package in general.
mean,
I always
just in
felt was
general.
like
Bar package is sick.
I felt that was stronger than playing the Rin combo. I mean, first
Agreed.
impressions.
I mean, it's not like cigarettes a amazing combo anyway.
And like
And the
it's
soccer
so
top end is
scary.
kind of
Being able to present stock swap at like a potential
Yeah.
thing at one is so terrifying that it's like,
Yes.
you know,
You could still play the Dark Sakura in 8-bar. Like,
yeah, you can. That's what's so good
you're
about
not
it. And
losing
like
that option.
that's why I don't think door is like a necessary thing because the deck's already playing for that like build a bunch of stock, not spend stock compression game plan, and then it enables itself to actually just spend the stock on Sakura combo without needing the the put 3 cards on top of your deck. And if anything, it's probably just better because you'd end up not having to destroy your deck state and say this is my final turn. You could just commit it.
Which person? I mean, I don't know. I've never looked at Icy Tail and be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill my opponent this turn with Icy Tail.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
I mean, the floor on that card is a lot higher than regular Icy Tail. The 6,
It is
The
higher.
EV
the
is
6
higher,
almost
but-
guarantees one.
The EV is higher, but it's still like, am I banking my finishing turn on like an expected burn 1? No.
I mean, it's because you're also playing a stall deck.
Yeah, but
But
it's
I'm not talking about
like,
8 bar. I'm talking about a
well,
8 bar with
why I
the
like,
Sakura. Yeah.
no, that's why I like 8 bar with soccer as opposed
Yeah.
to like door,
Yeah,
right?
you just
It's
put
really
that
good for
in
the
you
finishing turn.
put that in
door
caster
takes
slot.
away.
Like it's
Door
a very
takes away
similar
your
card.
ability.
Very similar
So-
card to caster, especially because in a Dow meta, caster's not getting a reverse anyway. So you're forced to run that card. It's also red, so. Before we move off this slide, I just want to mention on our channel we have set reviews for literally all these sets, with highlighting not only our own members but everyone in this video is on one of these set reviews. So if you're interested in any of these sets and you want to sort of dig into all the cards from like just sort of the trial deck all the way down, make sure to check out our set reviews. All right, so we can move on here. Community power ranking put together by our good friend Kevin, who also goes by Kilua. Kevin does a lot of work that goes unnoticed by a lot of people, so we wanted to make sure that we highlighted this. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But he put out this video, which is very similar to how Japan ranks sets, where they query well-known players, players who have topped, as well as like influential people just in general, and then they pull together an aggregate. And these are the results. So I just wanted to bring this up as a topping point here. I think we kind of went over it on the last slide. The sets that aren't out yet are marked in blue. Sort of an idea of where they will land. Does anyone have any thoughts on the power ranking?
I think Heaven's Feel 2 is a little too high. This is like my first thing that I'm seeing.
So is it just me, or is this thing really hard to read? I'm sorry, I'm interjecting. I can't read what's blue.
I actually can't read what's blue.
It's
either.
Dal,
Right.
Heaven's Feel 2,
Why did
ReZero, Frozen
why did he
Bond.
do white on blue? Why didn't he do black on white?
You're asking a lot.
I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
Take notes, Kevin.
Should
yeah,
have made it red.
Now, Heaven's Feel 2, ReZero, FGO, Magireko, and Kaguya are on blue.
And both 3?
Go free.
And Bofree. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
It's okay, we did too.
Dow, notably the only
Yeah.
thing with a 90+ rating.
I mean, I do think it's kind of weird how, like Nico said, Heaven's Feel 2 is so much higher than regular. When if we look at 8-bar at least, it didn't really get too many cards towards 8-bar in the current like scheme of things. It got the Ricky, which is cool if it wants it. I still don't think it wants
I honestly
It-
feel like if
it-
you're playing big gate, tools are being taken away from your deck, like stock swap and all that.
For 8-bar specifically, they got the Ricky, they got the Married Life that also negs 1k, and then they got the Dark Sakura as
They
a
don't,
finisher.
they don't play. They're not going to play the Married Life that negs 1k because they have that card was there as a supplement for Shiro because Shiro's gone.
Yeah, but like having that card available to you
Oh,
in
sure,
English
sure.
is still really good, especially when the field is going to be a lot of data live.
Sure, I don't disagree on that at least. But I do think like if we're looking at it, right, it's like a 6-point jump. That is a lot. To go up for very like minor card quality improvements. I think Dark Sakura is the biggest one, but I think it's also because a lot of people when they did this under the impression of they fell into the 8-gate hype when this was being given out, And so a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, AK is going to be so much better," and then they voted it higher, and they
I
rated
know
it
I
higher
did.
than R. I did too. I was being sheeple at that moment, and I regretted it after I actually thought about it.
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? I think A door just kind of sucks. I don't. Why did I do that? But I couldn't like retroactively take it back, unfortunately. So they should probably be about the same, realistically, though. Maybe like a point or two higher. In reality, I also think Fate's a little high, but oh well.
AOT moving down for our English.
Yeah, I think that's bad. I think AOT is still higher, but I may
I don't
apparently I'm
know.
just biased.
AOT
Yeah.
seems really poorly
AOT probably
positioned.
deserves to be like the 70.
I don't. Is it though?
It was
Yes.
pretty.
I think Adventure Time and Level
I think
Up
Adventure Time
are actually a
way too
little
high.
too high.
I agree.
I agree entirely. I think Sunshine could be like where AOT or Adventure Time is, and Adventure Time should be where like AOT is.
I would
Goblin
agree.
Slayer is a
Really?
little high too. I think.
I think it.
No. I think Goblin
No, I
Slayer.
think
I think Goblin Slayer is fine with kind of where it is
Oh.
right now. To be clear.
yeah, I think
don't-
Goblin Slayer is fine. I think Kagi is fine.
Goblin
Hmm.
Slayer.
That's probably right for Kage. Bofuri too
Doesn't-
high, honestly.
Yeah, agreed.
much.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people said Bofuri was 8 choice. That was like wild to me. I was looking through it. So many
Yeah.
people said 8 choice was the best Bofuri deck. Like, what?
I
Am I
played
missing
that. I
something?
played that shit as a joke for a wife event, and like that shit is pain. Like,
The high roll's
I don't see
pretty
the
high.
strength.
yeah,
but
the
I don't
high
think
roll's
the
pretty
roll.
high.
I care
Sure.
about the constant, right?
Yeah, but when your set
I don't know.
doesn't
Is
have
there,
much.
is there anyone here who's like an advocate for the 8 choice deck that can like speak to
No,
its strengths?
fortunately not.
So
don't
like
think
the
those
floor of
exist.
it, right? You typically get 2 of the maples into hand with double combo, and so like they actually sit. What I forgot the power threshold.
It's like
But-
1500.
But like 7K.
15 plus, so
Level
7K.
one's pretty big.
I've played it.
I
against
don't
you.
I was gonna say
Even
Brian's
that.
probably played into it more than anybody, right?
I haven't played into 8 choice in a while. I don't even know what Tyler's on these days. He hasn't
I
played
played
Bofuri in a bit.
against 8 choice a couple of times. The power thresholds on the maple like let it sit on board for a pretty long time usually.
I remember
Yeah.
playing into the pants choice build. The pants choice build seemed alright.
Yeah,
I mean, the
they both
pants choice
have
is
the same issue,
yeah, it's
right?
pants
Completely
choice is just a
dependent
good
on how,
deck.
it's completely dependent on how many times you can rip choice after you hit level 2.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
what even Milk Tea was saying about it too when he was talking about the card.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just if
Mhm.
you don't hit it has to play choice every turn. If it doesn't play choice, the second that you don't play choice, that card is undefendable. It's
Yes.
just
And
gonna
it
die.
forces you into doing weird shit where like you play 2 of them and you like crash a Kome on your turn and like you do all this wild shit to like try to get into another choice desperately. Where like
Granted, you can argue, right? You're paying towards like the fact that you're minus soul anyway, so you could lose a climax, and it's just
Yeah.
a benefit. But yeah, it can be kind of cringe.
I do agree with like AOT being slightly too low. I mean, when we talk about 67 versus 71, it's not that big of a jump. I do think
Right.
Adventure Time's also too high.
What
I don't understand what these numbers mean. Like, what is?
That's the fundamental flaw
Yeah.
with how he did this. There's no actual meaning to the numbers. So like a 9
it's an
a 9 on the scale can mean one thing to one person, it can mean another thing to another person. So like for
Yeah.
example, when I was answering this, because I was one of the people that was answered, I gave like that Data Live and Fate a 9 because I thought they were really good decks. They're like the best decks in the format, so they deserve to be up in like the highest echelons. I'm sorry, highest echelon of like my ratings,
by the way.
but they're not perfect, so they're not a 10. And then I gave something like Mob Psycho and Adventure Time like 4s and 3s because I think they're not worth considering whatsoever. But to you might have given like Adventure Time a 6 because you think it's a good deck with potential and that's worth playing. But all the numbers are completely arbitrary because they have no meaning.
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the point of this, right? It's just an aggregate of how people. It's the point of it is that's why you query so many people because it becomes an aggregate of how everybody
it's trying
feels.
to-
Even if their
It's trying
evaluation,
to use law of
Yeah.
averages to give
yeah,
a rough
even if their
estimation of
evaluation is
power.
different,
But
you think it's that low. A 4 is low no matter how you slice it on a scale of 10.
the issue
right?
there is the law of averages leads to biased answers, especially when your sample size is really low, which
I mean,
realistically
this is, what,
speaking,
20-something
speaking, that's a low enough sample
That's
size
really
where
low.
bias for law of averages will come into effect.
How many
I mean,
people were
sure.
surveyed? Like somewhere around 20 to 30.
It was like 25 or 26, I think. I
So
don't pretty much.
let,
And
let me
not
let me
everyone
pose a
showed it.
question here. So like, if we look at this like chart that Kilua has,
Mhm.
and take like each clump as like a tier, right? Like the like Dow would be S, the 80 plus would be A, the 70 plus would be B, 60 plus would be C. How does everybody? What's everybody's impression on like how that kind of looked like if we kind of just like inverted this chart a little bit and turned it into a standard S to A tier list? How would people feel about that?
I think it lines up pretty closely to what I'd expect with a couple
Yeah,
minor
nothing
tweaks.
is like really out of whack. Everything's kind of like within a tier of each other, I guess, if you want to like really say that.
It wouldn't be disagreeable.
I think the only
yeah.
thing that is like a little too high, like overall just a little too high, is Memory Snow.
I think numbers in general are overinflated, and
I mean,
quite a few sets are quote unquote higher than they should be.
I mean, like honestly, I agree, but like I think Memory Snow at that point, once you get to that number of sets, those sets don't matter. Like once you drop past these things that are in the 60s, these sets don't matter. Don't play these sets if you're going to an event. Like I'm being
what's the difference?
I don't know. I have some defense for for a couple of these lower down sets.
What's the difference between a D tier deck and an F tier deck?
Nothing.
Like they're both
Don't play
garbage.
them. Like I have literally
unplayable.
played every set in 55 that is not mob. That is a 55 plus that is not Mob Psycho, and I can realistically tell you, you should not be playing any of these at an event.
Yep.
And I'm like pretty biased towards Bunny Girl and FGO, but like you should not play these things.
It's about min maxing, right? We're talking about you play like literally the best thing you have available to you.
Right.
If you're going to an event, it's like,
like
no amount of personal preference, no amount of like absolute by the numbers min maxing. You play the best set available to you. Like, yeah, there are defenses for like weird edge cases and like maybe you have some sort of sick read. Like, sure, but like if we're talking about like generalizations, we're talking about playing to the best number you can bring, right? And spoiler alert, just bring Dow. If you're not bringing Dow, you're probably messing up. Gonna be honest here.
I mean, I think if you're not taking Dow, you should be taking Fate or Konosuba.
Yeah,
and
probably
maybe Slime. If you really like Slime, you'll bring Slime, but Shizu, I don't think is very fun into Dow, and if we're being real, Dow was one of the big reasons that it was Dow and Grisaya were the two big reasons that Slime lost its popularity in Japanese, and I mean one of those two still exists in English.
So probably
because Slime can't afford to go 1-for-1, 1 for 2 on Shizu every turn. It just dies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you if they hand on court it when you My Little Shido it, they maybe it stays on the field. But the second Dow can present a win over Shizu again in that same turn, they're just like, oh fuck. Like this isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And they peter out really, really hard. So that's a problem. Fate just has like so much sustain because of the bar and the bar support that like it can do something like I think Grisaya did in the JP meta for versus Dow, where it just kind of like slammed its head into a wall and said, "You're gonna take it eventually. You can only do so much, and if I'm not dying and you're not dying,
yeah. If you're putting out boards of Grisaya did it with the bomb. Grisaya did it with the bomb, but like Fate can do it by just slamming bar over and over.
You're just gonna
they'll take some damage eventually, right? Like,
and like you're not giving Fate doesn't present them good My Little Shido targets or anything either. And then all of a sudden, especially with Icy Tail, I think Fate can leverage like a random and like stock swap. Fate can randomly leverage just turning Dow's deck state on their head and like eke out wins that way. And I think that's like really good for it. And same thing with Konosuba with like
Konosuba has the end game, right? Like the end game.
These two sets have the ability
the greatest equalizer.
To equalize the Dow like deck state that it tries to build. And I think that's where they thrive.
Yeah,
and I will admit, like AOT does not do good at Dow at all. AOT probably has a pretty hard time into New ReZero, but it can probably get there because Mikasa still gets big.
AOT can like probably do fine if random people decide to not play 8 standby.
Unironically, does fine until like every one of these decks. I think that isn't like Dow.
8 standby Dow specifically.
I thought AOT. I thought Dow was like the one matchup AOT was supposedly going to be fine with. If AOT has trouble with Dow, I think it's rankings like
Well,
super
10.
precise. There's no chance in hell it beats Konosuba
it has
anymore.
wind, so it's like, yeah, you know, wind and blah blah blah, and then it can if it gets to 1 first, then yeah, like even getting to, I don't think it has to get to 1 first actually, because as I've said before, Dal does not set up a big board its first turn at 1. It takes an extra turn to like get somewhere like really oppressive. So AOT can probably do something in that first turn, resolve their errands, and go from there. But
They'd have to get a lucky win somewhere in there to really push.
I think win would end up being the equalizer in the AOT matchup, and that's not something that I really respect too highly. But I mean, it is the only deck in these upper tiers that are playing wind. So I think it's like the only deck here playing wind.
Yeah, I think it is the only deck playing wind.
Oh no, Joker, right?
Joker.
Wind.
Yeah,
We love P5.
P5, but we're not looking at that.
What do you mean? P5's broken.
P5 is broken.
But
Persona S tier.
Yeah, didn't you see?
I don't know.
All right. Well, speaking of Persona S tier, let's move on to everyone's favorite. We're gonna make a tier list. So before we actually go into tier maker, and I'll share my screen for everybody in chat here in a second. This is a relic of the past. It's been a long time since we revisited the tier list. But this was our old tier list that we did in our last retrospective. I always start from here, so I'm gonna pop over to tier maker really quickly, and I will share my screen. Okay, so I've moved to tier maker here, and before we actually get started, I want to actually argue for this. I've been thinking about this for a while in terms of like how we rank sets. I really think that there should be a new tier. I think there should be a double S tier the way this is set up right now. SS through F, and I think it starts with Dal in that tier.
Should be a double F tier.
A double F tier.
No.
What's the point of even having stuff in C and below? It's just gonna make the image clustered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like,
yeah, it's probably better to get rid of them.
Originally, there was a lot less sets. Like, they came out with a ton of new sets this past year, and we're even looking forward to further in 2021 now. So
it's probably better to get rid of these entirely, right?
Yeah, last time we made a list, there weren't so many sets, and we did it for the sake of
You
including.
should also get rid of JoJo.
I mean, you can just leave it in. You can just leave it in the pits, right? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it won't get placed. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Fairy Tail.
Like, you should also get rid of C tier.
Yeah, probably.
Nope.
I mean, there are sets there that could be argued.
These are the tiers to be competing, like cards to play things that.
So I guess if we're doing it on this, yeah.
Gurren Lagann, take out Gurren Lagann, take out GGO.
Yep.
GGO.
Take out Apo.
We can probably do it on this. We can take out GGO.
Fapo, goodbye Fapo, goodbye GGO, goodbye KC.
Kontai.
I have a defense for Kontai. I wouldn't mind it being like
add it back later, but for now, like purge it off the list.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Take that out. Take out.
Same thing with like P5 and stuff too. Yeah, just purge them off the list.
Take out Cardcaptor, take out Alicization, and then take out Fujimi.
And then
Take out Bunny Girl.
Arrange and then put on the list, yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so this is where we're left after that.
Purging.
Don't think that is much of a stretch, right?
I think it's like, I don't know. I feel like Dallas is still respectable enough. It should probably be on its own, right?
You think so?
Like you said, when everything is warping around being good against Dal, yeah,
I would make that argument. So my argument for this is like even like for this, right? Is that these 3 sets have options. Well, no, not even that. I think these 3 sets have options available to them that literally no other deck can say that they do. Like literally no other deck other than these 3 can say that they have those options. But I could also do something like this where everything else is below them, right? Where like there's something like this. I could see
like Data Live in like a double S, maybe Konosuba up there, and then like you have like an S tier of maybe like Slime and Fate or something.
I don't think Konosuba is better than Fate. I'm sorry.
I think Fate kind of sucks. I don't think Fate's like top 3 at all.
You are definitely an outlier in that opinion.
Why do you think it sucks?
Well, sucks is a strong word. I think it's overrated. I think it's good, but I don't think it's like top tier.
What is like your issue with Fate?
What does overrated mean? Overrated compared to what? What's being rated?
Overrated compared to Dow?
I mean, like all these
hate
sets.
I'm sorry, I hate that word over.
I
It
guess
literally
it's kind of like a vague term. I don't know. I feel like everyone's putting Fate up on this pedestal. Is like it's right up there with Konosuba and Dao, and I just
Right.
don't think that's the
So-
case.
Actually,
So
better
let's
than
just
Konosuba,
let's
we can
just go
talk.
over what Fate has right now, real quick, right? Fate has Azusa, which is considered to be one of the best level 0 profiles in the game by a large majority of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has the Shiro Avenger, which is literally the card that like makes Fate what it is. And it's such an egregious card that it turns your 16 zeros into 16 plusing zeros, which is like ridiculous. It has the free fresh draw card, which was originally from Nisekoi and was on the ban list at a point, right? When Nisekoi was around, when at its prime in JP. It has level 1 stock swap event, which is also an anomaly of for that card to be at that level and at the cost that it's at. Just for the sake of having 3 green characters, when your whole deck is green, it doesn't matter. It has the mutual free fresh event, which is a big part to that card as well, right? And it's what makes it on par with like Konosuba, because it can do the same things Konosuba does. But what's strong is it can do them like it can do some of them earlier than Konosuba and a lot cheaper, which also plays around what Fate is doing. Fate allows itself to set up its advantages versus these top decks that are supposed to be denying other decks. It has the ability to do these things before they do. And then it's the best deck at like it's like second to Dal at not dying, sure, but now it has actual finishing power that isn't tied to a combo and is more aggressive than a lot of other decks, because no other deck can just slam climaxes like Fate and never feel punished for playing these climaxes. No other set has the amount of event selection that Fate has for how strong their events are. Like, this deck has so many things that it's too good at what it's doing at this point. And it's only gotten more tools to make it better. Like, I don't think this set's overrated. I don't think it's better than Konosuba, but I don't think it's worse than Konosuba. I think they're about the same. Whether Birdo that's as good as Dao, I don't know. But I think that set's like actually absurd. And calling
I don't
that set
think they're as
overrated
good
or
as
calling
Dao.
it bad, calling it like saying it sucks or it's overrated is just so wrong to that set, because that set is so egregious now. This isn't if this was the Fate from Worlds, yeah, I'd probably agree. But this set has only gotten better since then. So
I guess maybe I
that's what
wasn't taking into account like all like the new like
Yeah.
gate stuff and all that. I was
I
just
mean-
thinking like the old 8-bar deck.
It's
I thought
it's
was,
its
It
power
didn't get
level
anything
is
new.
so
It
high.
barely got anything new.
It got what it needed to like push it over. I think having like a good another disruptive finisher, having
Yeah.
the option to play a refundable Ricky, that means you have better selection towards your level 1 combo, towards your Avenger, towards these random cards that you could be missing. A way to salvage Azusa at like a premium. Like it's a really great effect. Like Ryan said, the -1k plus the married life effect thing. That card's also really good if you ever find room for it. Like we talked about it in the Fate video. There was just a lot of random cards that you could be like, yo, this could go in the meta. This could go in like 8-bar, like realistically, right? And even 8 doors to play. I don't know, but 8 doors has its niches to it too. That's like you can't ignore it. Just like you can't ignore Konosuba still playing Door Stock Soul when even though if people think 5 door 3 pants is better, it's the same like level of like strength. Where it's still gonna do a lot of the things Fate does. So it's like, can you ignore these things? No. Whereas with Dao, we only say it's stand by Dao.
Yeah, I think you made a good point with Fate saying like they get an actual like good finisher now. I thought the Rider was kind of like. I actually do think Rider was kind of soft.
Rider was not a finisher. Rider was a healer that was just that was a bar. It was an excuse to play a bar.
Yeah, you just played it for a 4th bar, to be honest.
And it was occasionally blew people out. Like,
if you're playing against a set that can't deal with Rider, by all means, just play fucking Rider. They can't fucking do shit. You just eat them alive.
Your combos in 8-bar were always just incidental, to be honest.
You played it for the bar filter and the event engine because it let you play the events.
That package is what made Fate.
The back row
plus
plus the level 1 bomb. Oh,
yeah.
It made the bar.
Oh, the level 1 bomb
amazing.
is like so stupid. Like,
it's pretty egregious especially into.
You get to play 4 of a level 1 cost bomb that like also leverages your 8-bar triggers that also has clock on core. So if your opponent's playing a costless level 1 at all, you just like, all right, deleted. Goodbye.
It's like every
Yeah.
bar trigger like just gives you so much utility.
And you always get to pre-field the bombs, and the second you pre-field the bombs, you just leverage soul damage on your opponent for like.
Yep.
I mean, the other thing is like
majority of the game.
meme about like 8-bar like triggering like 3 times or whatever. Like, what other deck can continue to play the game after that happening? It's only 8-bar.
Yeah, because they just run through Azusas or whatever, and they're like, all right, Azusa, free fresh. All right, we're good again.
Imagine
Wow.
if that happened to any other deck. You'd just be like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm fucked.
Dow triggers 4 standbys. All of a sudden, it's like, wait, but I only need like 1. Like, calm down, maybe 2. It's like 5.
If Fate triggers
Dow can just lose off that.
Fate triggers
What if
2-3
someone
bars,
does that?
and they go, oh, I can still play the game because I have Azusa.
Yeah,
and
mill my deck
bomb.
down, grab something out of my waiting room that I need.
Yeah, and it just got more. Like, I didn't expect it to come here and defend Fate, but because I fucking hate that deck. But that deck is so stupid.
Well, okay. Well, let me talk some more shit on Fate.
Go ahead.
Like, so we have 3 decks up there right now, right? Like, this is like knee
These are
jerk.
the-
Like, this is the format.
Yeah, these are the 3 decks.
I feel like Cost Bomb. You're saying, oh, Cost Bomb loops are disgusting. I feel like that's like going out of style. Like, everything's turning into standby where you can't Cost Bomb them, or like
Everything's-
Oboro style combos
Wait.
that like.
Well,
can't
it's
Wait,
Oboro.
Cost Bomb is so good
Yeah.
against Oboro.
Real quick, right?
How is Cost Bomb good
Uh,
against Oboro? It
Because
just
it means
pops
they
back in
can,
your
they
hand.
can
to
never
side
front
it.
you.
They can't
They can
front
never
it,
front
yeah.
you, and you get to keep your bomb.
Yeah, it
And
sends
then
you
you're
a
playing
plus
bar.
1.
You just go even with them then, I
But
guess.
you're playing bar. They're not playing climax every
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
They have-
You
they
you
have
going
missile
even.
damage.
You going even is better for you than it is for them. Basically, is how it goes. Because I was also considering that. It was
Yeah,
like,
you
oh,
have
how does
Cost
Cost Bomb
Bomb.
actually play into
Yeah, it
Oboro?
doesn't force you to
God
clock
forbid.
on core either.
You only go even too if Oboro actually triggers. If Oboro doesn't trigger, you're siding for 1s.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, and I'm gonna play a bar and I'm
Well-
gonna swing for you with 2s.
Well, they do
Well,
have the. They
Konosuba
do.
has the brainstorm.
oh, they have the
yeah,
brainstorm.
the
So 1 of
brainstorm.
the
Yeah,
lanes
they,
will always
they
go
got one
east, right?
lane, yeah.
Yeah.
1 lane on average, but still, I
But
mean,
as soon as you whiff a gate,
Yeah, the soon you whiff gate, it's like, oh fuck,
fuck.
this is upsetting.
Yeah.
Especially if you
Right,
whiff
and-
that second gate, right? Like your
Mhm.
second turn, like you're like, all right, I'm gonna play Oboro. This is my second turn. You don't find the door. You're like, what do I do? All because right, that was one of the strengths of Oboro with Konosuba was that it was like Union lacked the ability to have a reasonable next turn if it stays at 1. Union had to hit 2 on its like the turn after you combo, or it had to keep the units alive, which didn't always happen enough times. So it felt like, oh man, I have to sandbag with shitters. It makes Konosuba either have to find the door again, or they're playing that same fail case without Resonate. And Resonate was what made that sandbagging like playable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that lies. But you know, he's kind of bonkers. And also, what about standby? Dow literally, we've already went over. Dow alone shuts down other decks playing standby. That was like a big
Yes.
thing, right? Like Dow says, if you are another standby deck, I don't respect you. Don't play standby when I'm existing, because you will just lose to me because I'm the better standby deck every single time.
Mhm.
Yes.
So standby decks are basically phased out of relevancy as long as Dow is the standby deck.
Is that just because of the Shido event?
Yes, that's because of the Shido event. And the Shido event and its own walls are just bigger. Like the walls of other standby decks,
I think
right?
Dal is the first 2/2 that gets such a big payoff because of that
Mhm.
fucking Toka 1-0 back row.
Yeah,
that card's
such a
ridiculous.
disgusting
It's
card.
actually egregious.
Yeah.
God, the
So
whole
that's
Dal's
that's
just
where my
egregious.
thing with like Fate is. Like the cause 0 bombs. The cause 0 bombs destroy every deck weaker than you. Keep you on par with the other deck that's like as good as you. And while I will admit the cause 0 bomb doesn't really do too much versus Dal. But you just pre-filled your other cards and you're just crushing on the clock rookie when you need it and the slamming doors against them and winning the early lanes. Because that like Fate only ever needs 1 or 2 Shimakaze resolutions to like kick their game into like gear, which I think is like.
Well,
really
I mean, are they
strong.
even getting the Shimakaze
Yeah.
resolution?
They will get it every single time.
Dow?
Yes, they will get it every single time. They'll go to they go to 1 first every game. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Clock and Core enables them to choose when they go to 1, and they will always go to 1 first. So
you can literally
especially with
like
Ricky.
overplay an
If they-
Avenger on top of an
If they
Avenger.
play Ricky, they will. Especially with Ricky, they'll always go to 1 first. Like it's not even a question anymore.
Yep.
As long as they don't choose to shove you to 1 and play that way, if they do, that's their own problem. But again, even then, and like we talked in the Fate thing, Andy, Dal's first turn is never good enough to deny Fate.
Well,
It's not.
Sakura's only 6'5".
Yeah, but what is Dow? Dow gets like 1-1-1, maybe 2 in a good game. They still have that third lane. And if Sakura only needs one lane, then they're there. And then if they choose to play the Shiro Rider back row that does the -1k plus 1k, that makes Sakura even bigger. Versus and they can actually kill the 1-1s. Right? Because then it makes the 1-1 like a 75 55 to Sakura 75, and then they have to 2k counter to tie it. You still get your Shimakaze, and then they have to hand on court to keep their card alive.
What
So
were you
puts you
saying,
in
Ryan?
a green.
No, nothing. Continue.
That's all I
Carmen,
had
can
to say.
you add in like the other like the SS tier? So we can like start putting more stuff on here.
Move
Well, I
Daylight
was-
on
What?
FS, yeah.
I mean, the rest goes into B and C. I don't think.
Or yeah, I mean we can just
Well,
we can leave it
would
like
let us,
this for now.
Make it
Yeah,
a
I
little
mean,
bit
just
more
leave
robust of a tier list. Like add another tier at the top for Data Live, slap Konosuba and Fate up, and
I
then
think 4 tiers are fine, right? Like,
Yeah.
Let's continue
what
with
does
4, and if we
Everything
need
else
it, we'll add an
arbitrary.
additional one.
yeah, I guess let's move along and see if we need it as we go.
I know, like
Mhm.
A feels bad, but like the idea is that everything is
It's
sliding
the
down
format.
because
Right,
Dallas is so
I
stupid.
guess.
Everything's relative.
Do
Yeah.
we
The
think
labels on the
anything
tier
else?
doesn't matter.
Do we think anything else could be in A with Fate and
That's on-
Konosuba? I think Slime could be
Oh,
up there, maybe.
I think
Maybe
Slime
Slime
could
at the
be up
low
there.
end of
I think
the
this is
I
argument
think
for-
a ReZero with Frozen Bonds could be up
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say
Hey,
ReZero.
Zero,
Dude, I love Green ReZero, but I don't think it's an A with those decks. I think
Okay,
it's like,
so
I think
this is
Slime and
this is
ReZero
a
are the
toss-up,
bottom of
right?
B, top of B.
Before we go any further, this is a toss-up, right? This could be anything. Like, it
Ryan,
doesn't
what do you
really
think of
matter.
it? I care about Ryan's opinion on this. Ryan, what do you think of it?
The Konosuba Fate matchup.
No. Sorry, the slime thing. I mean, if you want to give your opinion on the Fate thing, I'm interested in that as well. But
Slime is pretty miserable into Dallin Fate. I don't think it should be an A if those two decks are unrestricted going wild.
and then
Like,
I
you-
actually want to hear your opinion though on Fate as well. But
What about my opinion on Fate?
Like the
the Fate
placement
Konosuba thing.
of Fate Konosuba.
Strictly speaking, in a tournament setting, I think Fate's a stronger deck because it's more consistent and has a higher floor.
Because Ryan said he wanted to see something before, so I wanted to hear his opinion, and I respect Ryan's opinion on slime more than like anybody else's.
I was gonna say
As
Ryan
well.
rated Slime like very high on the survey. I went back and like looked through some people's results
Yeah, I
to see
did.
what everyone else was saying, and he put
I
Slime
did.
like really up there.
I did. I gave Dallin 9, I gave Fate a 9, I gave Konosuba an 8, and I gave Slime an 8.
I think it's when you have to put it relatively, and you should start comparing it to the other decks in a meta sense of like an event that things change in terms of its actual placement. Its deck strength is still might be an 8, right? With everything it does and the things it has, might be like an 8 score for Ryan. But that doesn't mean that in the sense of if I'm bringing this to an event and I have to play against these other things, it's an 8-tier deck and competes against these things. Because
Even then, I think
what do
like
you do if you just get clock kicked versus Fate? Like you just cringe. You're
Yeah,
just like
so
this is literally the
playing-
worst game in the world.
Playing Slime before the Fate ban list was one of the most miserable experiences ever. Like straight up, they like if they hit one first with Adventure, then they feel 2 clock bombs, and then your hand's like unplayable. You just have to sit there and be like, well, maybe I don't do the thing that I built my entire deck to do, or I'm siding their level 1s, and then
And
I
your
still don't do
Shizuka-
the
Yeah.
and I still don't do the thing I built my deck to do. This is so cool.
Right.
It's very,
Like
very,
Ramirez,
very depressing.
Yeah,
you
You
have
can't
to
crash
crush,
these you
you have
either.
to crush on Ramirez, but like
That feels bad.
So slow.
yeah. I mean, I think this is splitting hairs. I think Fate versus Konosuba is splitting
Yeah,
hairs.
that's what I'm saying. I think those two decks are like right there. I don't think one of them is.
I
don't
think
either
leaving
of
it
them
at this
or
is
one of them
fine.
is-
Leaving it at this
Yeah,
is
I
fine, I
agree.
think.
I
Let's
agree.
move on to B with Slime at the top of B.
I think Slime and ReZero are like
Yeah,
the two
yeah,
next
yeah.
two best
If
decks.
ReZero's not at the bottom of A, then it's definitely at the top of B.
Yeah, it's like I don't think those two. I think Slime and ReZero. ReZero might only be better because it doesn't auto lose to things like Fate and Konosuba. Like it has, right? It doesn't. Amelia doesn't lose to these things.
I think it like
So-
does fine into Dal probably too.
What were you saying, Ryan? Sorry.
Wall.
I was gonna say this tier list has 2 separate images for Fate. Are we just gonna say the Sakura has both of them?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're both
ReZero,
Sakura.
I unironically think ReZero has probably the best matchup, one of the best matchups into Dal regardless of its matchup versus Konosuba and Fate, Dow alone, and I've talked about this with other people before, the 3-2 Amelia back row and the Puck 3-2s enable ReZero to legitimately push over Toka. And with outside of counter range of Toka as well, and I think that's such a big thing that ReZero can do consistently, and that's such a cheap cost because that's its game plan anyway. That's so strong, and then the deck doesn't care about My Little Shido because you're playing one stock early plays anyway, and they can't target your back row because the back row
one stock early plays you can still secure lanes because your characters don't lose power.
And then Dow has that issue where Dow needs to keep its board. If Dow's board is answered, it kind of crumbles a lot in its mid game power, and then it will have to crutch on Kurumi to finish a game, but it can't sit there and still build that wall and sit on that wall because they don't rebuild that easily. And you can just run over them with Puck, and then if they encore, your Pucks are bigger than them on defense, and that's terrifying. I think it's just that this Puck is going to be 14k before counters on defense, 15k plus on offense. As long as you resolve this field, and this is your optimal going into game field regardless, it puts ReZero in such a good spot versus that deck. And then it doesn't lose to clock bombs because Amelia's shrug. It's Amelia. It doesn't matter. You're playing a non-interactive book combo, and you're playing just stock chargers that are just gonna. They're actually just naturally over the bomb too. So it's whatever. You force them to clock on court if they want it.
I mean, if we say that, then should we move it to A?
Well, no. I just think it's it's not as good as them because it has its flaws. But I think it's more well positioned than Slime. I don't think the finish the top end of ReZero is still something that lacks in a regard.
I think maybe what you're trying to say is that Fate and Konosuba have things about them that make them oppressive.
Yeah.
ReZero matches up well, but it's too fair.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's too fair, but it has the real matchup versus these things. You don't just auto lose queuing into these things playing ReZero, and I think
so
that's,
above Slime is reasonable, is what we're saying.
In my opinion, yeah. Only because Fate and Dow are just so unfun for Slime.
Yes.
Does anyone have objections to this placement?
Even Konosuba is kind of strong into Slime.
My bubble of expertise is gone now. Continue on.
All right. So
I feel like Slime probably does fine into Konosuba out of all of them because there's really no way to deal with the memory compression. No one's running the Cosmo event.
Well, technically Konosuba is the only deck in English that can deal with memory.
If you tech for it.
You also have an answer to the Shizu
Cosmo
early
Bomb.
play.
You're running Cosmo Bomb, so you're actually not giving them the Shizu memory condition.
Yeah, he's running Cosmo Bomb. No one's running Cosmo Bomb.
The stock
English
swap?
decks are, yeah.
1-0. I've seen
no, the 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah, the 1-0. Not
Cosmo
Snipe.
Bomb. Not the sniper.
I've never seen anyone play that card.
I play that card.
They should.
I've been playing that card. Yeah, the 1-0
That's
Cosmo
the drop
Bomb.
salvage, right?
It's
Yeah,
a drop salvage.
on death drop salvage. Yeah,
when it
Yeah,
dies.
that card's pretty sick. Also,
But are they playing it in enough quantities to really make you
You
sad?
queue
as
into
Slime?
Slime, you just grab it. Yeah.
Yeah. If
Well,
you're
how
playing-
many are they running? You can just try field Shizus. What are they going to do? They're not playing 2 or 3 of that bomb down.
They front one Shizu, they bomb a Shizu, and then they side the third.
Yeah, because they're playing Obro, they can side one lane with impunity.
As long as one goes to your memory, you
the
just
first
ram
one,
risk, get the other one in there.
Yeah,
that's still too slow.
Really slow.
The other problem is that Konosuba has one of the best answers to Shizu EP.
Yeah, and then,
with the
then once you
2-1.
hit 2,
Aqua bottom
Like,
decker.
that Shizu literally can't.
Yeah,
stick on
I'm
the
gonna
board
be
against
honest.
Konosuba.
I think at most builds of Konosuba, if you're running the 2-1 back row farm Slime, in my
Yeah,
experience,
I think that card's too good to not
They
play.
can't get over it with a backup.
no, not with
Your Aqua sit at 13.
They have to have the backup and the Shizu support.
So the
What's the pick,
Union, assuming an optimal setup for both decks, the Union early play ties the Shizu, and then the Aqua is over by 500, and Slime only plays one backup if at all.
But
And
they play the loopable backup, don't they?
Some lists in Japanese swapped over to the loopable backup instead of running the Leafa counter, specifically for the Dal mirror or the Dal matchup, because the Dal matchup you needed multiple counters to actually be able to do things. And if English Slime lists start to make that adaptation, then it becomes a bit better. But with the current standing of running the one Leafa counter, the Konosuba will always beat over your early plays. And like you could technically counter over the lane that has the bottom deck effect, and then you just lose the other two and you hand encore them, but then you're in this exact same position next turn. But you're down the answer.
I kind of want to ask too, like Ryan, you said something there, like they could adapt, but like, when we're rating these, are we taking into account adaptations decks can make, or are we just looking at like the meta list as of the moment?
You can consider adaptations or whatever you want. I don't personally care. The swapping a Leafa counter for the loopable ogre counter doesn't change the position of the deck in the meta.
Yeah, it's same with Fate, right?
It just alleviates the Dow matchup from being unwinnable to you can play the game, kind of.
Same with Fate playing like the Shiro Rider back row. It doesn't change the strength of the deck. It just makes certain matchups a little bit easier if you choose to play it.
Yep.
As long as an adaptation isn't like deck changing, like a whole new deck kind of thing. I think it's like you can
I feel like adaptations a lot of times would be like a whole new deck.
Not in Weiss,
but again, that depends how like I would that changes how I would like rate certain decks. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, like you change slime. What do you change it into?
If you feel that way, just bring it up then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like not so much with slime, but I mean, like the argument there, like okay, slime only runs 1/2/1 counter. You could just run more counters.
I mean,
you could run 2 or 3 counters.
Every card has an opportunity cost, right?
You can, but pushing counters into decks is taking away deck slots, and that's opportunity cost. And with the deck like slime, you can't actually afford that opportunity cost.
Yep, playing that one counter is already like a big give.
Mm-hmm. And like you're sculpting for your Shizu, you're sculpting
so strong.
One.
Like that is why that loopable counter in slime is so strong though, because it takes the spot of multiple slots for an extra stock.
Yep.
Every time you want to use it. I think that card is a really good like tech change to be making for the meta. I think that's like probably a real play English should probably consider with slime. I think that makes a lot of the things like the mid games more tolerable with how big deck like boards are gonna get now.
Is it a 3K counter or a 2/5?
I think it's still 25, right?
I actually think it was 3K. I can double check.
If it's 3K, then that means like you can actually beat over pucks on offense too, and I think that's like
5 is sick.
There was a power threshold there.
I might be a little biased too. I'm definitely a fan of backups. I tend to run like higher counts of backups than most people, but
no, sorry, it was a 2/5 counter.
Damn, so you're only 15K.
I mean, it's still fine, like right? You're still 15.
Yeah.
15's a good number. 15 beats over Toka on defense, assuming they don't just like super pump one lane. But you're playing multiple.
On almost everything on defense.
Yeah, 15K. I think the only thing, Puck is like one of the only things that's like, yeah, boy. Oh, and Rider 2/1. That card's
Rider feels really hard.
So it's either 13 or 15, depending on your back row.
Yeah. No, 12, 5 or 15. Shizu, right?
No, Shizu's 10/5. It'd be
counts 13.
No, with the back row. Yeah, with the back row though, right? Because you're probably playing.
For these matchups, slime is always going to opt into the 2/1 counter, and then the 2/1 back row, and then your back row configuration is either the assist and the stock maker, or the assist and the brainstorm, depending on how the game's going.
Yep.
All right. Well, what else goes in B tier? I think Goblin Slayer.
Do you want my honest opinion? Absolutely nothing.
Yep. Nothing.
Agreed.
Really?
Huh?
I do kind of feel that way as well.
Really? I think Goblin Slayer's up there. It's like pretty uninteractive and like
it doesn't.
I feel like none of the decks above it really deny it.
There's so many ways to outs
but
like
it doesn't do anything. You're not outing. It's like, what are you denying?
It's kind of like ReZero, right? Like it can kind of just do its thing and not get punished.
What's its thing?
Yeah, what is its thing though?
Its thing is winning late.
Solid, playing a solid overall game.
Goblin Slayer's power spike was the level 1 board presence, but that gets completely invalidated by Dal by just simply being bigger. It gets invalidated by by Fate with the clock bombs. It gets invalidated by Konosuba by completely ignoring the level 1 game. ReZero doesn't really care because it also has a bigger board, depending on how the build goes.
It ties it in like every lane.
Slime doesn't care about the board at 1. Losing the board at 1 doesn't really matter that much for Slime.
Well,
And then
I think Goblin Slayer would be
peters
below
off.
those decks. I think Goblin Slayer's like below Slime, but I still think it's like in D tier.
I don't think it's on the same tier of strength as them though either, because Goblin Slayer, I talked about ReZero having no like real impactful top end, and like Slime is in the same boat. Goblin Slayer is worse than both of those in that regard.
Goblin
What are you
Slayer
talking
is
about?
absolutely
The Priestess thing at level 2 is great.
But-
No, Priestess
Okay, hang
can
on,
Even if
shit
they
on.
answer that, even if they answer that, you just pivot
Andy,
into the level 3 finisher.
everybody here knows, besides maybe Brian, that I am the Priestess stan, alright? I was repping Priestess and saying that card was good, but everybody told me I'm dumb.
Hey,
I love that card.
One did it first, buddy. Calm down.
What the fuck? What do you mean? I was literally the Priestess
You
shill.
literally made a video standing Priestess.
Can
before
you-
Goblin Slayer dropped
But-
in English.
What's the point? Yeah. But anyhow, like, that card is just not good enough.
Can
As
you
much
imagine
as I
playing
love that
Priestess
card,
into any of the 5 cards?
yeah.
decks on
There's,
this
there's,
list?
there's,
I
every
actually
single one of
love
those
the
decks
deck.
has an out to Priestess.
All right,
Priestess
so,
Yeah,
should
but I
not
mean,
be fucked.
so,
when they
let's
answer
go
your
down.
Priestess, though,
let's
you can
go
go into
down.
like the Trow deck, Goblin
Let's
Slayer.
go down.
Let
Let's go
Ryan
down
go.
the list. Let's go down the list really quick. Dal has a field swap, anti-change bottom deck bomb at level 1 plus my little
Double
Shido
down.
event, which completely invalidates the early play. Early
Oh, Blinker too, right?
early-
Blinker Shido.
and
The Blinker.
here, which
Yeah,
just
the
completely
Blinker.
invalidates everything Priestess does.
He also
Fate-
has Blinker.
Fate has a blinker. Fate has the 2-1 rider, which scales over and forces you to ditch resources, or simply Fate just doesn't care because you're not dealing with their deck state and you're
And
not dealing
sending
with
butters.
the refresh loop.
Yep.
Konosuba has the early plays plus the bottom deck assists, which scale over your cards. So they deal with Priestess and force you to commit resources just to keep your effect going, and then simply don't care because their top end will just blow you out of the water anyways. ReZero is just bigger no matter what, so you have to hit 2 first, which is a hard give, assuming that you're winning the board at 1, which is like the point of the deck, and then you attacking into ReZero's early plays is losing the game. And then Slime doesn't care. Slime also has the power threshold that deals with Priestess and forces you to hit level 2 first, and then potentially try to wall out with counters and shit. And that's a horrible game plan. And then that game plan, oh, sorry, I also completely forgot that Slime also has the 1/1 stock bomb to hard remove.
Oh yeah,
them as well.
that's pretty sick.
Yep.
I don't think
So-
a deck
so
can be
all
B
of
tier
these-
if it loses
all
to
of these-
every single.
All of these decks can
Think about
simply ignore, remove, or don't care. No, they can just all remove or ignore. If all remove or deal with Priestess in a way that it completely invalidates the card, and then
And that
Goblin Slayer
doesn't
has
hurt them.
absolutely nothing else going for it.
Yeah, and if Goblin Slayer loses at level 1 ever, that deck actually doesn't do anything because your clutch is gone. And like the thing is, Goblin Slayer was really good at the point when it came out, right? Because Fate was the only deck that dealt with this card realistically and in like a real manner, and that wasn't enough to like be bothered. But all of a sudden, all these decks do, and these are like, if we're considering these like the top 5 decks right now, being answered by the top 5 decks in like multiple ways is really, really bad, right?
Yeah, I could see that like being C tier.
C
I-
tier.
Goblin Slayer is probably one of the best decks in the bottom tier of competitive play, which I don't like. Again, I don't think that's a bad thing when we're establishing how like narrow the top end of this format is. I mean, granted, 5 decks is better than I thought it would be. Like thinking about it, but being at the top of like the bottom or the bottom of the top isn't exactly bad either.
Right.
It's like fine because you can still play this and you can still do well with Goblin Slayer. but,
Yeah,
like,
I think
you
that's a
have
good
to
point.
know
Like,
you're climbing an uphill battle. That's it.
yeah, like in a game like Weiss, like anything can kind of win, and like it's still an anime card game. People are going to be playing the
Yeah.
sets they like. You go to a tournament, it's not just going to be like
Right, but we're
all
not.
Data Live and Fate. There's
we're
going to
not-
be
we're
like
not talking about that
the competitive
mindset. Yeah,
mindset, yeah.
so like that argument goes both ways and is also meaningless in the same time because we're not actually like talking about that mindset. Like sure, you can go to your English regionals with a Disgaea TD and you have a chance of winning, but like your 1% chance is like marginal compared to like someone playing Data Live or whatever.
Yeah,
And we're not
we're
also
talking
talking to those
about-
people. Because if we talk to those people, then what's the point of the tier list? What's the point of doing this whole video if we're like talking to those talking to those people or talking with that mindset? There's no point to doing stuff like this. because anything goes.
Okay. Well, not like the really shit sets like not
No, but anything can
Disgaea.
It's just
No, but
the.
anything
But,
can
I mean, it's
Oh,
relative,
like
Andy.
Goblin
It's
Slayer
shit,
can
too.
Goblin Slayer can like hang with the other decks though. It's not a joke.
Yeah, it
Disgaea-
can. That's what we're
Yeah,
saying.
but
It's like
Goblin
the
Slayer
top
can
of
hang.
that.
what we just said, it's like at the bottom of the top.
But when
like,
it has a bad
top
matchup in
Right
all of these
now
decks, it's not
the
on par
sixth.
with them. Yeah,
It's right now it's 6.
just
6
the
is
thing.
fine.
It's just not on par with these decks. It is not on a tier with ReZero and Slime that both just body it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't have it. It doesn't have its
right. You
niche.
guys are right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You
Okay.
made really good points. I think top of
Yeah.
C is fine, but I think C tier is like fine still, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
No, definitely.
that's why we moved on bottom tiers, right? Like, and we said tiers are relative. Like, these are still like these are competitive sets. We're only looking at competitive things. So that's how we have to look at this.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't even think it's a top of C tier.
I don't think it's top of C
tier. It might move like a slot or two, but I think it is in this like bubble of like 10.
It's
10
in the
sets,
in the bubble of decent decks, but it's not like I wouldn't actually call Goblin Slayer a good deck right now for like a deck worth considering.
Well, then,
I mean, we'll establish it. We'll push its strength against the other things in its tier and deal with it after.
Yeah, we gotta start adding
more
stuff.
things. We have to put more things in here.
So-
we got rid of the meat. That was the
yeah,
meat.
let's move on. Let's move on then.
Bang
How
Dream.
about
Bang Dream.
Bang Dream
Alright.
C tier, up there with Goblin
Bang
Slayer.
Dream bottom of C tier. That shit's fucking bad.
Attack on Titan's in there.
Attack on
Wait,
Titan's
wait. For Bang Dream though, doesn't Bang Dream like okay? What do these top 5 decks do against Bang Dream? Bang Dream's pretty like non-interactive.
Well, Bang Dream doesn't do anything.
What
So
does
that's-
Bang Dream
what
do to
do they
them?
do against it?
They just solitaire. They just do their own thing
Yeah,
and they
they
get
don't-
there.
Their own
Yeah.
thing is
to be
it's
good.
not good enough.
They solitaire wars.
It bleeds resources versus all of these decks. It can't compete against the mid games of these decks because its mid game is abysmal. It's literally Ronnie. Like Ronnie P is like the best card, right?
You run 4 Himaris.
Yeah, and you have Himari anti-change, and it's like, okay, sure, are you just gonna slam Adachis? Go for it, dude. Like,
This might be like a really hot take, but I think the way forward for Bang Dream is actually the memory list and trying to play hyper compression. I think like that's the only way. I think that's like the only way Bang Dream even has a chance to like stand in this type of format.
Is that
by itself
What is this memory list?
Isn't good enough because just being a compression memory deck isn't good enough to win
the
a
memory
tournament.
list is basically crunching on the Ronnie P to heal loop because you have the Tomoe level 1/0 that bonds to it, and then it sends itself to stock to play the Ron for one less stock, and then you just keep heal looping your cards in clock to memory. And then you use Michelle stickers because Michelle stickers have all those like stacking effects, and you use the Kosumi event swapper to swap the other events you're playing, like warehouse and stock swap when you don't need them, to grab Michelle stickers and use and leverage that card out when it's good too, because that card's actually like pretty strong when you stack it. And the whole point is that it just hyper compresses, hyper heal loops at 2.
Brian with the biggest smug
Brian
grin.
is popping at his computer.
Oh,
Michelle
you
stickers,
guys
here we
don't
go,
even see the
2021.
stars in my eyes right now.
Well, no, I mean, it's actually it was. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure Ryan will admit it too. Like, it was Brandon, the Australian Chronosay on like the Discord that like showed it to us, and like, when that deck goes off, that deck's really oppressive. But the problem with it is it's still in that same vein of it has to just not die, and if it ever goes to 3 too early, it falls apart.
Yep.
But it is
If it
probably
hits
better
level
than
2 early,
everything else.
Right.
No, it wants to hit level 2. That's fine. But if it
It needs
hits,
to hit 2 first. It doesn't pop off until level 2.
yeah, but it is. I would probably agree with Ryan. Actually, it is probably the best way to play Bang Dream, even if it's not like super duper like incredible. It is still probably like
It's the
strongest variant.
only deck with a high enough ceiling to actually do anything against other decks.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably true.
No, realistically, I would actually put Bang Dream above Goblin Slayer and AOT.
I don't think it's better than AOT.
Like I think
it's better than both those sets.
I have a really good line matchup,
it's
probably.
Going into this field, it's a deck I would rather take over AOT or Goblin Slayer, is how I'm looking at it right now. Because it at least has like a win condition that it can play towards and can actually try to compete in this field when it hits that condition.
Does AOT not have like a win condition?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Mikasa is still like one of the best win conditions.
Mikasa's like a
Dude, AOT gets shat on, absolutely shat on by Fate and Konosuba.
I think
Yeah, but so do all these decks. Every deck gets shat on by those things.
Especially AOT.
I mean, if AOT gets off Aaron like early, like Konosuba still can't really push itself to 1. Actually, I think it lost the ability to push itself to 1, right? Because you don't have the Union Resonate anymore.
You don't play Ricky.
So it actually like Konosuba at least lost its ability to force itself to 1 before AOT. So the AOT has a boot in there. Yeah, I agree. Fate is a problem.
Listen, dude, I played AOT into new Konosuba.
I got that the world of it. I know. Believe me.
And if I can't do it, no one can.
Like,
whoa, okay.
the set is like still very good. I think
it feels
Mikasa is
really
still
bad. It feels really bad.
Mikasa is still just such a ridiculous finisher, and like I think underselling that card is doing AOT a very big disservice, and I still think Aaron as a level 1 combo is one of the most like egregious level 1 combos ever printed to this day.
Aaron's like, benefit is super diminished in this current meta. Like the benefit you get from Aaron doesn't really matter all that much anymore. The deck doesn't have the tools to keep up, especially in the mid game. Like your mid game options, you're trying to bank on the double changers, which if it goes off, like sure, it's decent and it's hard to deal with, and it's good, it'll stick. But like you're still banking on double changers to try to get you there throughout the game. You don't have any plussing triggers. So as soon as the game goes wrong in any sort of way, you just kind of fall behind and you're banking on brainstorms the entire time to try to dig you out of situations. And as soon as you hit those unlucky games that inevitably will happen in Swiss, because like variants or whatever, like the deck doesn't have tools to deal with those types of games. Like Armin Rize and mashing brainstorms is like it can work sometimes, but like that's not something I want to bank on when I go into a tournament. Like I would never play AOT in a tournament because it's not. I don't think it can handle Swiss.
Not anymore, maybe.
I actually think it handles Swiss. It doesn't handle top 8. Whereas before it had both, right?
Well, see, the way I look at it is that like a good Swiss deck is consistency and like being able to fix yourself or get out of bad situations, and a good top deck is explosiveness. So like if the argument is that like you bank on Mikasa and Mikasa will get you there, then it's a good top cut deck. It's not a good Swiss deck. Like it used to maybe be a good Swiss deck because you could farm all the shitters, but if we're looking like objectively at this current meta and like this hypothetical bubble where people are like going to be playing the strongest decks and aren't just going to be playing random shit, then it doesn't really matter.
Because you can't farm anymore. You can't. The fact that gear is an extra copy of every character in your deck doesn't matter when you can't get that reverse as reliably, even against the Swiss field.
Double comboing with AOT is not as realistic anymore.
It's not even like getting the reverse with Aaron to get your combo off. It's just Aaron denying reverse isn't as huge of a deal anymore. That used to be backbreaking. It was devastating, but now everything's on attack.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Aaron denying reverses wasn't even that big of a deal at Worlds. Like, it hurt Konosuba more than it does now. I'll give it that.
Aaron bouncing
Konosuba
itself
was still more than functional.
The only reverse is a dodge.
AOT used to curb stomp Konosuba. Now it's like
it didn't curb stomp Konosuba.
I don't agree with that.
I don't think it curb stomp Konosuba.
I think foreclosure made it so that it was like difficult to actually get your top end off against Konosuba.
To get the burns, yeah.
I
think it had a good early game.
Hey Andy, did you ever watch any of my WSI games?
No.
You should go back and watch those spots because Konosuba, the Door Stocks old deck, never needed to actually get reverses to play the game.
Yeah. That was what was so egregious about it is it could leverage stock and stuff to make the same stock Union did.
Yeah, like one of the powers of
Unga Bunga resonate.
Yeah, like one of the powers of like Konosuba is that like if you didn't get reverses with Bunny Girl Union, you could still like leverage like Snotqua and just
all your
better stock management.
The stock souls, all your Snotquas, they
yeah.
Like Snotqua alone is not a good card. She feeds into the ambush is why. Yeah.
No. Legitimately, I completely agree. Snotqua was a call because of how the deck functioned.
Yep.
And its strength was exemplified because of how strong the resonate was, and being able to force stock for resonate was more valuable than anything.
Yeah, you just turn one stock into a plus every turn for free.
Yep. And like
so the card became a plus.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was also just generally like one of the better blue splash options.
Yeah, that too. It was the best blue splash.
It's the only blue splash.
Realistically,
in English,
playing it right. Like you're still playing
in English specifically.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Snotqua's power is like very that's a card that I would consider overrated. If we're gonna use that term with anything, people see that card and they think that card is just so much stronger than it actually is.
You have to do something with it. It's like
they don't put what it's actually doing in the deck to a context. They just see that it's making the deck function, and they don't think about why or what it's doing.
The old deck was like roll your face on Union, and like the new deck, if they opt to play Takitsubo, it's just like it's a free Ricky the next turn.
Yeah, you're just enabling Takitsubo, exactly. Yeah, or like you're just using it to match your brainstorm to move through your deck or something. But the card itself is not a card you would probably play in a lot of decks if it had it.
In a lot of sets, yeah. Different sets, yeah. Okay, well then maybe these will fall in line a little bit more when we talk about another contentious set. Where does Love Live Sunshine go? This is like
I think it's worse than Goblin Slayer.
I think it's like
definitely
B tier.
Mid-low C tier, maybe.
What did you say, Hanson?
I would argue it in B tier, bottom B.
I'd
Do
argue
you think it's
D.
B? Why?
I think it it fares decently into like Fate and Konosuba. Like the level 2 play is still like very strong. It's still in today's standard.
Sunshine, I feel like, has like probably one of the most fragile early play games like right now in general. Because
Konosuba bodies it, right? Because they just
Well,
bottom deck.
Ryan
It's
was
like-
about
like-
to say something and everybody ran him over. What were you gonna say, Ryan?
I mean, you can continue the conversation. It's okay.
Okay.
Ryan, just say it. Ryan, just say it.
No, I can go after.
Shut up,
Just
Ryan,
continue.
just say it.
Just continue.
Ryan, just say it.
He
Everybody
wants
stop.
us to continue.
I think
Go ahead.
we're done, Ryan. I
Ryan,
don't
just say
think we
it.
have anything left to add to this.
The early play is fragile, and every deck can answer it. But you have 4 Yos and 4 Chicas, and it's still the strongest early play Weiss has ever seen.
Agreed.
And
I think
the early
Chica
play,
Yo carries it on his back.
just dropping an early play will win you a game more often than not.
Yeah, it's extremely fragile, but you got Yo out for 1 stock only.
So
Like I wouldn't put it in B tier. I would put it in the upper echelons of C tier. It's still super egregious. The double early play is still super fucking obnoxious and disgusting. Even when decks deal with it, it doesn't actually matter because the point of Sunshine is that it keeps the double early play going consistently. But the deck has definitely fallen off in terms of power.
I think it loses a lot to like Konosuba is actually a pretty
All the sets above it, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, level 1
I
Chica
don't
still
think it
doesn't
loses
care
that.
about a lot of it.
Yeah, Chica gets to farm, and like Chica gets to get its reverse versus every deck here that isn't Konosuba.
Oh, like
And,
Konosuba has to side Chica as well. So.
That's true.
Well, yeah, that's fine. But the difference here is siding Chica is more impactful than siding Fate, right? Because Fate's just gonna slam bars with their bombs. Chica has to slam a stock soul to be a combo. So sometimes even if you just wait them out, like they won't have that stock soul every time you don't have a door, right? So you might just be safe, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, my Chica sucks. And then eventually it gets to the point where if you shove them too hard at 2, if you side them and they hit 2, and they lose their power spike because they didn't get to salvage these cards, that's your in right there. Because all of a sudden now Fate, they're behind. That's the biggest issue with that with Love Live is like it kind of, I feel like it, in a way, some people might disagree, but I feel like it crutches on like getting the Chica reverses to sculpt for this early play because you have to set up that early play to be dynamic, and if you don't have it, your deck is literally nothing. And that's my issue with it. I would be willing to put it in like the top of C tier though, just because of the strength of the early play, and I can't deny that. But
you are more dependent, especially because like your tools are a bit outdated. You don't have like the utility of a more modern set to try to get you there without the need of a combo, and you don't have like plussing triggers to try to get you there. But the meta isn't geared to deal with Chica like it used to be back when like AOT and Sao XD was like meta, and Chica couldn't get reverses because of that. Like none of these decks actually stop Chica in any way. She will still
ReZero with Pac, like the
you don't play
2-0
Pac. You don't play
level 2
Pac.
Pac.
No, you don't. You don't actually play the 1-0 puck anymore, and like the green build kind of cut that out entirely.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like that was like a.
Yeah, that was another card.
Yeah,
that was another card that made the matchup worse. But like the meta shifted in this way where Chica will always be able to get her reverses. So like that issue is alleviated anymore. So the power of the double early play is strengthened.
I want to bring up the point that so like the meta is like pretty defensive and like healy and stally, but like I feel like Sunshine can be aggressive enough.
Yes.
That like
yes.
its early play is so good that you might be able to go under them.
Yes. Like a lot of these decks try to bank on like multiple turns at 2 or like multiple turns throughout the game, and Sunshine just kind of invalidates that with Chica being able to push multiple instances of damage for nothing.
Yeah.
Does
probably
English
why
have the Rico, the 2-1 Rico?
Which 2-1?
Which Rico?
The 2-1.
The level.
The assist?
Yeah.
You have to play the assist.
And
to
that's
play
literally the card.
Yo.
That's his deck.
Wait, sorry, that's the early
That's
condition.
the early play
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah, no, wait, sorry. What about the Azusa?
You still have to.
That was set one. That was set one.
Was that
Sunshine.
one? Okay, yeah, I don't remember.
This this is as close to full power. Like
Yeah.
the only thing closer to full power Sunshine is when Sunshine gets standby in
Mm-hmm.
the next set that we haven't gotten yet.
Yeah, but like so, like Rico's also a stupid card in itself.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
Rico's
Rico's
pretty
pretty card.
egregious
So
card.
like, outside of the stupid double early play, right? You have Rico, you have Azusa. How many sets in English actually have Azusa?
I would still go so far as to say Rico is the best level 2 ever printed in Weiss Schwarz.
So what's stopping
I don't
from
know.
being like to go on B tier?
Except for maybe Junio. Okay, except for Junio. Junio is actually banned. But
Consistency would be a thing, right?
did we just lose Ryan?
Yeah,
Or, like,
Ryan left.
I think Ryan DC.
Oh no, I think his internet died.
Yeah, but so the consistency would probably
Ryan.
be the only thing keeping it out of B tier.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, consistency and then it's top end being more fragile. If it was stable.
It's
right,
a get there or you don't. It's a get there or you don't deck.
Yeah.
Like
It can like consistently hit, but it's like if it gets answered too many times, it can wear thin.
well, and that's the problem with all the decks above it, right? They all answer it in some way.
Yeah, but you also got it out for like no cost, basically.
Yeah, it's like if
Yeah,
you're having a good enough game to continue looping it, sure. But that's why it's at the top of C tier. That's why it's not in B tier.
I think even looking at the rest of the sets, it probably is the best deck in C tier. I will give it that. Like,
I'm fine with it being at the top. I think that makes sense.
Even if you answer yo, she still gets her burn off. You're still not like preventing that. They already got what they
doesn't her
wanted.
burn off if you flip a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the problem with the card
Wow,
inherently.
if you fail and don't get there, you fail and don't get there. That's like
Well, yeah, all the sets above it never fail to get there. That's why it's in C tier.
Right, it just low rolls sometimes, yeah.
Low rolling sometimes is enough to not be a good deck now.
it's like rounding an Adachi into a yo isn't like an out to yo. Like they're still getting their double early play. They're still like swinging 2 huge cards at you, probably burning you for something.
Well, to be fair, if you Adachi yo and it leaves the board, Chica's not big anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
They typically answer both lanes.
They answer both lanes more often than not if they Adachi you.
Yeah, and like a lot of these sets play Adachi or can like very easily tech Adachi. Like if you ever just remove, like if Konosuba ever removes like. Yo,
Also, random sets beneath this set also will have Adachi. And all
Also,
new
things
sets
like-
being pre-printed will have Adachi.
And that gets rid of the stickiness power of like the Kanon back row as well with that card because they can. A lot of these sets have access to remove yo off the board entirely, so Kanon can't just go haha.
And I think that's also another point, right? The top 5 decks play well into the lower tier decks, all of them. Versus Sunshine, who doesn't always.
Yeah, I think AOT is still a problem for Sunshine.
Mhm.
I don't know how Goblin Slayer is for Sunshine though, but it could probably be a big nuisance. I could see it. But...
You bomb the 1-0.
Yeah, like
Well, yeah, but I mean, like Priestess actually can become a card that's annoying versus them because Priestess can leverage anti-change counter versus them, and then it makes their turns harder. But not to say it's like a great matchup, but yeah, okay. Next deck.
Also, sorry about that. My internet finally died.
No, you're fine.
Finally died.
About expected.
It has to die at least once a day now.
Yeah, that's my internet right now too. Don't worry.
So what are the next sets to be placed? We're talking about like
see?
shit like Sal, Adventure Time, Kaguya,
Major Record.
Major Record.
Bofuri.
Yeah, I'd put both 3.
That's like it, honestly.
I'm gonna say Personal 5.
Yeah, maybe P5.
P5? No way.
That's a really tough ad.
So wait. Are we actually talking about D? I was just putting these up there to like
No.
be discussed. Yeah,
these are the sets we're talking about.
yeah. These are the next. This is like the next group of sets worth speaking
On
about.
deck.
Yeah.
I think Adventure Time's like one to talk about. That's one that everyone was like really.
Oh, okay. Wait. Before we move on, is everyone okay with this like C ordering? I think this looks fine.
That's fine
right now.
man.
Yeah.
I think there's argument for like, whatever.
I think the biggest argument here, I'll unironically say, is like Goblin Slayer versus AOT. Goblin Slayer could be better than AOT.
I think these three. These three.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Arguing about C tier to me has always seemed like a waste of fucking time.
But these are real. Like these are real decks though, and these
This
are decks
isn't.
you can't ignore
This
that you will
isn't.
see.
This isn't real C tier, Nico. This is like
No, I
Of the-
understand, but even then, it's like I even think about arguing like about this positioning is kind of a waste.
Because this is still top
Because
10.
I
These are
think
still
if you
top
were
10 decks.
legitimately,
Yeah, oh,
like, if
definitely.
you were
For sure.
legitimately going into a tournament and be like, I want to win this fucking tournament, I don't think you're taking a deck in C tier.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
AOT,
agree.
because like if you've already had AOT and you've had like that comfortable experience, but I don't think any other of those decks make the
I mean,
cut. To
Sunshine,
be quite
right?
honest.
That's why we
Sunshine.
respect.
I don't even think
Sunshine.
Sunshine. I don't even think Sunshine. I don't think
I
Sunshine's
would
good.
I would never bring Sunshine to a long
I
tournament
don't
ever
think
again.
Sunshine's good enough queuing into those top 5 right now.
Sunshine's natural inconsistency into a 10+ round event is enough of a detractor for me personally to not play the deck.
So
As someone who has played the deck into multiple long tournaments.
Okay. Well, that's you personally. That's not the deck in general.
Andy,
Well,
you
I mean-
can't fire back with that's just your opinion, man. Come on.
Well, I mean, you
Andy-
literally qualified your statement with "this is my opinion."
Okay, sure, but like right now, I
Andy,
think Sunshine,
can you
like,
natch-
we
can
just
you-
discussed about this? Sunshine literally just crutches on its early play right now, and I think the rest of the deck's game is shit. And then if their
Okay, but
early play
that's
game's
reason
answered,
enough to
you're just
take
like,
it.
Wait, it's a level
No,
one.
it's
No, it's
reason
not.
enough for
No,
someone
it's
like-
not.
On Sunshine. Can we move forward, please?
Yeah, fuck Sunshine. Move on. Next deck. Thanks, Kit.
All right.
Kagi neck. Pog.
Anyway, the next group of decks, I guess.
I love Kagi.
Adventure Time.
Is that where we're gonna
Fuck
start?
Adventure Time.
Where's Adventure Time go?
Fuck Adventure Time.
I think it's chilling in C.
Is it here?
I think it's
Probably,
better than
I
Goblin
mean,
Slayer.
probably right below Goblin Slayer. I think.
I
is
don't
fair
think it's
for
in
it.
C.
I think it's better than Goblin Slayer.
Maybe even right above. Yeah. Just
I
right
would
above-
I would rather play. Unironically, I would rather play Kaguya. I'd rather play Bofuri than play Adventure Time.
same.
Adventure Time and Kaguya both have like
Kaguya
really good finishers,
seems
right? Finn and
better.
Jake,
do.
Kaguya.
Kaguya
Kaguya
seems
has a
better
real
than
mid
Adventure
game.
Time.
Mm-hmm.
Adventure Time does not have a mid game. Like
That's-
period.
Adventure Time doesn't have a game.
It has a
Let's be
top end.
fair.
They
The
crunch
level
on
zero
it really hard.
is
Yeah.
kinda nice.
Its zeros are good. Its top end is good.
Does
Like,
someone want to red pill me on why Jake is actually a good finisher?
I don't think you play Jake.
Jake is such a media. I'm not gonna say
Finn and
media.
Jake?
Jake
The
is such
choice?
a the choice. Sorry, Finn and Jake. Call to Adventure. Whatever. I don't know English. I don't know cartoons.
Level 3 or level 1?
The level 3. That card is so medium at best. How is that like
No,
a
that
good
card's
finisher?
actually insane. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ryan.
Why?
That
Okay,
card-
red pill me. Can you red pill me on this? Because I think that card's like
Okay.
actually mediocre, and people saying
So-
that you crutch your deck on that card like
Okay,
make me question it.
so I've been playing against it a lot just because like a couple of my locals build Adventure Time. That's all they ever want to play because like one of them maxed it and everything too. And that finisher, I have just lost so many games to that finisher existing because like swing 3, burn 2 with a cancel burn between one of those attacks. When you put that even just in like 2 of those lanes, the numbers for that is just so absurd. And I just like sometimes I just look at my deck and I'm just like, I just fucking lost. Like it's so hard to deal with.
How does that finisher get you there when you don't have a mid game to stabilize on? How does that finisher? How does that finisher clutch a game from behind?
Unironically,
Because
I started. Well,
that's the argument I always hear when it comes to this.
Well, no,
finisher.
because it has
finisher is
really
absurd,
good
and you
potential
can,
from,
you can clutch on it. And
zero.
having a weak mid game doesn't actually matter because you have this absurd finisher that you clutch on. It's like the
It's
AOT argument
because-
all over again.
Well, it's because since it doesn't have the idea is that because Adventure Time doesn't have a real mid game, its stock costs can be kind of like hand waved in a way because it's not spending stock. It's not really spending stock on EPs. If it is, it's a 1 stock EP anyway. And then so you have the stock to realistically like double or triple Finn and Jake, and then Choice can also subsidize that when that's relevant. But and just that finisher, like a double of that finisher can actually like kill you from 2-4, like very realistically.
How do you have all these resources to actually like pay for this combo when you're losing the mid game due to not having any presence?
Yeah.
You just play more conservatively the whole game. You just kind of like conserve your stock, push your back rows forward and attack, like play all in for the end game.
That loops back to my argument. How is this a finisher that you can clutch the entire game bait on and like sandbag mid game to try to just like blow your opponent out with?
Unironically, the more I play against Adventure Time, the more I kind of lean on Standby being the best level 1 version to play.
No.
I think it gives you that mid game. I don't believe in Hotbot. Hotbot doesn't fix the problem. Adventure Time's mid game. Standby gives you a mid game. Standby lets you randomly push extra damage. It gives you the extra stock to spend on things like brainstorm and whatnot.
Another thing, how does that finisher also play into any deck that compresses in any sort of way?
It's a lot of instances of damage.
Well, that's the problem with Adventure Time. I think the
Yeah,
fact that
let's go back to my question. How does that finisher, or how does the deck crush on that card specifically to make the deck good? Because that's the argument I'm always hearing about this set. Because everything else about this set is pretty mediocre.
So even in a compressed deck, right? If we would just look at like the charts, right? Even in a compressed deck, it has like a really high average damage expectancy because it's 3, 1, 2, and these are like relevant numbers. Where like if a Cancer never pings out a climax, the 2 becomes like you have so many instances that can just hit climaxes that in abundance you will end up sticking damage. Will you kill somebody from 7 when they're super compressed, or from like 0-3 when they're super compressed? No, probably not. Can you make it so that like you could realistically like kill them on the swing back? Yeah, probably. Do
you have a swing back? This finisher bleeds.
Still a healer.
Yeah. It is a healer, but the finisher itself bleeds your resources, and like I said, you don't have a mid game to actually like try to sit on and try to stabilize on. So you're bleeding resources throughout the game to try to keep up.
Sure, but that's like, a part of me is like, that's like saying if you try to finish off with like Kurumi, right? Because Kurumi's a ditch 2. That's like saying, oh, does it have a second turn, right?
No, dude.
Yeah,
you did not just compare Jake to Kurumi. Come on, dude.
I did. I mean,
Kurumi has 2 other things it can do.
It's the same logic, though.
No, it's not, dude. It's really not.
It's the logic of if I don't kill with Kurumi, what do I do? But it's the fact that Kurumi, even if you don't kill, it sets up a realistic like end game scenario on the second turn, even if that card bleeds out your hand to try to push for game.
Okay, Kurumi also holds board fairly well because
also
if you don't ditch hand, you have access to counters and like refresh counters because you're only ditching hand if you're really, really pushing for that
next soul as well.
To kill you.
The next soul counter as well.
Yep, you also have the next soul counter.
If you're good enough to draw the 3/3 event, you have that in your hand as well.
I mean, with all your top checks.
I mean, you're ditching 2 for these Kurumis to try to finish. I don't know, man.
Jason, what games are you playing where you're ditching 2 for every Kurumi?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to push for game, that's
okay.
Wait. A real scenario you're going to.
This literally goes back to Ryan's initial question about decompression too. Is that
we're also getting sidetracked.
Kurumi has decompression stapled to the same card.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Kurumi is like.
Well, decompression is literally the problem with Adventure
Kurumi
Time.
Is also costless outside
I think you are unironically getting way too hung up on like attacking Kurumi as a finisher here. I'm not invalidating Kurumi. I'm not even saying Kurumi and Finn and Jake are like the same combo. All I'm saying is when we look at these decks, it's the only other deck that has an actual like real cost to it where you can say, yeah, if this tries to push for game using these cards, all of a sudden it has a very similar scenario, but Kurumi can do it. Then it's not like Finn and Jake are weak. They're like 11-5 on defense. And like you still have stock for counter because it's still attacked and you have the counter. So you can protect this card. It's not unprotectable. What do you mean what?
What?
Two stock,
and if you're using
stock and you ditch your hand and you don't have any mid game presence outside of like potentially playing standby.
I mean, that cost isn't that big. It's like only
no. Andy. I'm not saying the cost itself is big. My problem is that the deck doesn't have a mid game, so you're bleeding your resources to keep up in the game
that's
to
why
get
you
to
play,
that point, which
makes
the
time. You play standby because standby gives you a mid game.
Yeah, but how much are you losing at level 1 then?
You're not. Like, I actually don't think you are.
Yeah, I think Standby Choice is a garbage deck.
I think it's good. I think it's like very competent. I don't think it's like great. I don't think it's better than any of the decks on this list right now. But I think it's like way better than people give it credit for.
That deck does not hold hand unless you're fucking sacking like crazy.
Jason's making me want to pick up Adventure Time.
Like, dude, like I'm just being dead serious here. Like, I don't like Adventure Time.
You have to sack so hard to keep even basic
I'm really starting
resources.
to like Finn and Jake.
You double trigger, like you're double triggering. You're generating extra stock. You have extra stock to just like mass brainstorm and shit. You don't care. Like,
which
you
requires
have a
you to
real
hit
ability.
You
brainstorm.
just stand by a Finn
But
and
how are
Jake
you
out of
compressing for this?
Yeah,
Like-
you're not like.
You don't have any
You're just
compression
a stock
tools.
charge. You're a stock charge that's double
Which is
triggering.
why I like
You
the
double
stock cell
trigger, you hit
combo.
standby, you pay out your standby,
Charge
you
and
move on
pay
with
your
your life.
climaxes.
The stock cell combo plays so good into shoring up the shitty mid game by giving you
So
big
that's
costless
me.
characters to play.
You don't
I
need
don't-
to compress. You just win.
Like,
By winning board at level
you-
1 cross turn.
with standby, right? You can very realistically weigh hitting the standby as worth more than the extra stock you are getting.
With only 4.
Like a lot of the time. Because you're twin driving, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're hitting a climax.
Yeah, but you
Really quick. I don't think this discussion is about which version of Adventure Time is the best. Even if we say both versions are the best, does this change anything with the placement of the set?
That's good.
But my
Yeah,
entire
good
point
point.
was gonna.
probably not.
What I was
If
trying
the
to
issue
lead
is just
to
the
was that
combo,
I think Adventure Time is extremely mediocre, and like I wouldn't even put it in the tier list at this point unless something magical happens and it gets solved. But because it has to be on this tier list because precedence or whatever word you want to use, it should be in D tier.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Because like like we were talking about the 8 choice, the mid game is weak. When you switch to the standby choice, your mid game gets a little bit better, but you're still giving up a little bit more of the early game instead.
I really don't think you are, but I don't
I
feel like talking about Adventure Time anymore. I think you should actually go back and try to play that. It's a lot better than you give it credit for. But I don't feel like sitting on Adventure Time conversations for forever long.
Mhm.
But I definitely think it's a lot standby choice is a lot better than it's given credit for. I still don't think it's better than any of these decks currently on this list, as I said before.
Do you think it puts it to C tier?
I think it goes
Bottom
under
tier.
Goblin Slayer in
I do.
C tier.
I
and we
think
can
that's-
always
I think
move
it's
it
very
back down
bottom
later.
I do actually think standby choice is like a C tier deck, like low C tier, but C tier nonetheless. Like I think it's there. I think it fixes a lot of its issues. Just having standby, having the 2K memory back row, just these and like those cards also play towards allowing Finn and Jake to survive another turn, and like be able to sandbag. They let you cheat cost on Finn and Jake because you can standby that card out, and now this card like becomes even cheaper. Like I think these are like real things that people don't think about and like enable that to be something. It's very similar to me to like standby books out, and I thought standby books out was a pretty sick deck.
How are you hitting all
You
these
mean
standby
standby
triggers
pants?
outside your combo?
Let's just put
Can we just move on to the next
Finn
step?
under Goblin Slayer for now, and let's talk about my girl Kaguya, aka Mikasa Jr.
D tier.
She's up there with Finn and Jake, right? She's
I think Kaguya
basically Mikasa.
Better than Goblin
It's better
Slayer.
than Mikasa. I think it's better than Goblin Slayer as well.
Better than Goblin Slayer.
What's
Maybe
the-
better than AOT.
Wait,
Well,
look. So what's the zero
so-
lineup? You have the clean cut runner. You have the Ricky, and a brainstorm. Drop search is.
I think Kaguya is at least here to start. We can
Yeah,
start
yeah,
arguing
yeah,
after
yeah.
this.
Time.
Like,
So the issue with it is standby door is the play, and versus Dal and stuff. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
yeah,
But,
it's bad. It's bad into like. It's okay with slime. Kaguya actually has
okay
really
in-
cool tools.
It's actually okay
Into
to every
slime?
deck here that isn't Dal. Honestly,
I think that against ReZero and up, you might experience some issues.
you lose mid game. Yeah, it's mid game issues there. I agree.
I think that against slime and below, you're actually totally fine with most of this.
Slime and low.
I don't think.
But then you're playing Mikasa as your finisher, so
You're playing better Mikasa.
Better Mikasa because she swings 3
She's
and
also
then she has.
cheaper.
Well, swinging 3 actually isn't better.
Yeah, swinging 3 isn't the better part. It's the
It's the
cost
ditch.
better.
You're only ditching 1. Yeah, but you're. I mean, both combos you only do 2 of. It's on a gate, which is a lot better than.
So
Well, I mean, I think
above or below Goblin
Above.
Slayer? What's the
Above.
consensus here?
Goblin Slayer.
Probably
Right above.
Is it
Probably
above
right above
Aaron,
Goblin
above
Slayer,
Attack
but-
on Titan, I think.
I think it's better than AOT.
Yeah, probably right now. I think Standby Door is still one more well positioned. If we're like thinking genuinely about what Ryan and people and like things we're saying about AOT and its issues, it's Kaguya being a card that like it gets the marker and being able to delay the search just because the marker exists on the card is like pretty sick.
Well, how often are you actually delaying a search?
It never actually works, by the way.
It never
Yeah.
happens, but like it's there, right?
Look,
It's
if
the
you're
thing you
delaying,
can
if you're
try
able
to,
to
yeah.
delay the search on her, your opponent's fucked either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're actually
It means
high
everyone
rolling
got
so
stuck at
hard.
level 0.
You're high rolling so hard in those games
Right?
where you're able to
Like-
search on your opponent's turn. That's happened so few times in my
Well, it's because that card's weak.
absurd amount of
Exactly. That's the
protection.
point. Like,
It's what 55, assuming you stand by the one.
I
if you
could
have
see
the one
even
on
with
the field.
AOT. I would be very hesitant to put it above AOT.
I don't
just
think it's
it's
above.
like-
I don't think it's above Bang Dream. I think it's somewhere. It's
So-
either above or below Aaron.
It has the better mid game than AOT, right? It actually has the mid game, like it has the good early plays. And I think that's a big boon towards it.
It's a better zero.
Its level 1 is definitely weaker, but if we're saying that Aaron doesn't matter, then like what does the fuck does that matter?
I think the hexproof.
That's
level
a good point. That's a really good point. Aaron,
If we're
Aaron
gonna
doesn't-
acknowledge
Aaron's
that
irrelevant
Aaron
right
doesn't
now.
matter, then
Aaron supports nuts.
They're both Shimakazes.
The
Armin
level
support
1
is
is so
But
scuffed.
there's nothing for Armin support to be nuts about, right? Like what is it? Like what are they gonna My Little Shido for?
Yeah, it denies my little Shido. That's about
They're
it.
gonna My Little Shido in AOT anyway. That's like a thing there.
Mikasa?
But they're just gonna kill Mikasa, right?
The,
Or they're just gonna kill
I
you.
meant the field change. The field swap.
Oh, sure, but they're just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this. I think these could be interchangeable.
Agreed.
Sure.
We can leave it at this for now. We can be conservative.
Fine. I'll
Kaguya's cuter than Aaron though, so put her ahead.
Yeah, Kaguya is cuter than Aaron.
Kaguya's
Kaguya's
cuter.
cuter, just-
All right.
I don't know.
I'm down with that.
The
I'm
Zelda's
definitely
lineup
not
also
biased
better,
at
isn't
all.
it?
Will's lineup is so much better than AOT's.
Finn,
Yeah.
Finn is
It's not
so
even
much
a-
cuter than Goblin Slayer, but
No,
he's
no.
below.
Next set.
Well, yeah, but
Unreal.
Adventure Time's worse than Goblin Slayer.
I don't want to talk about Adventure Time anymore. I'm scarred.
So,
Sal.
awesome.
How about Sal, guys? Whoa, how about that Sal deck?
D?
D.
Yeah, Sal sucks.
Okay, what do we think about Sal versus Adventure Time?
I'd rather play Adventure Time.
One of them is
I feel
better.
I feel like I,
I
have
think
an
I'd rather
actual.
play Sal.
I would rather play Gara Sal.
Yeah.
I have an actual. I feel like Finn and Jake has an actual way to win the game. Sao does not.
I disagree.
Yeah, there's a reason to play Finn and Jake. Like you play Adventure Time so you can play Finn and Jake. What are you playing Sword Art so you can play? Like
So you can
what's
play the
problem?
toolbox. You play the
Yuki?
toolbox.
Yeah,
But
playing
Yuki-
Yuki.
Money counter?
What? That was a lot of people talking.
You play Sal to play the toolbox at level 3.
Yep.
You can answer any situation with that deck.
I know, like we're really high on Garcelle, but like I feel like
Can you
generally
answer any
speaking, the
situation?
community's like all about like Zek and Book.
What does it do versus Ryder? If Fate plays right, if it decides to resolve Ryder, what does it do?
You can play a bouncer if you want. There's also
Isn't the-
commanding strength.
Isn't the bouncer Alice?
The bouncer is Alice, but you're playing Door.
Are we actually
Oh,
considering commanding
sure.
strength and out to that card? I don't think.
You have
it'll-
Door and
I
you have
do.
The back row, the onstage silica lets you salvage any character.
Okay,
But it's on reverse though. It has to reverse.
sure.
Yeah.
Which is
but-
not a
If
problem
the
for
card's on
Garcelle.
reverse, salvage.
You can probably
They'll find one eventually.
That's not a problem with Garcelle, dude.
It is not an issue.
I think Garcelle's better than Adventure Time. I would rather bring
think I would
Garcelle a
agree.
million times to a tournament.
Come back to me when they get their self-tap brainstorm, and then maybe I'll say it is.
Yeah, wait,
I don't know. I think
Like,
Finn
I
and
don't
Jake's better
understand
than
this
anything.
argument that you make half the time because, like, in that same vein, okay, cool. Fate resolves Ryder against like Adventure Time. Now what do you do?
Well, they play the
Where-
wormhole.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
they have on attack like actual damage though. But yeah, I do agree. I don't think Adventure Time is better. It's good against Ryder either. But he's saying it was a statement to Sao has the toolbox level 3 that can deal with any situation. I don't think it can deal with every situation. But
I really think it can. I think commanding strength is a better out than people give it credit for Nexel stuff. And if you really want to, you can play the Alice. I play
this card
Alice.
isn't- but to be fair, it's not neg 2 soul though. It is neg 3 soul. So it is like significantly like I think -3 versus -2 is like a pretty big jump in damage.
Versus
right?
any
It's
other
like-
deck that does literally
it's not like
nothing.
Priestess, but it's not like Priestess where you can go, yeah, commanding strength, and then you swing for 1's minimum. This is commanding strength, now I swing for 0's minimum.
What's
maybe
the
one.
what's the difference between siding with being forced to be side with Finn and Jake to get the
I
burn
mean,
2
again,
with a
I'm-
cancel burn
Mind
1
you,
versus
I'm-
like
I'm-
siding with like
okay.
Burner
Adventure
Asuna
Adventure Time is not in the equation here. That is not
Riders.
point.
or siding with
no.
Liz.
Well, first
Like
off, it can bounce Ryder. They have the sword. It doesn't matter. They have an out.
Yeah.
But that's not
Neg
the
soul
point
doesn't
here.
matter.
Adventure Time was not the point in this. Adventure Time was not part of this conversation. All I was bringing up was you said it has an out to every situation, so I presented a situation that I don't think Sao answers very realistically. That's all this was. Adventure Time wasn't part of that equation there. This was
I mean,
just a
sure,
response
I-
to your statement.
you can very easily just play fucking the Alice Bouncer if you really want to.
Can you?
Sure.
Yeah, I've
It's a bit
successfully
more of a
played that card.
liability. Like that's a
Can
bit
you?
harder to get then.
That seems really hard to select for.
You just
I
grab
don't
it
know,
off a door.
Is it only 2 cases to Fluctlights too?
Yeah.
You
It's
literally
only
just
for the deck.
You literally
just
just play it
bounces.
for bounce. Yeah.
Just for the bounce. So
That
not-
seems
not
really
su-
cringe.
not
Off
super
trait,
realistic, but
off trait bouncer that does nothing but bounce.
Less cringe than you think for a deck
No,
like
it's
Gara.
cringe. It's cringe.
That's cringe.
Carmen, I need you to move Austin's face to the right of Finn's.
No. I mean, I don't even think it's like I don't think it's in C tier personally, but
The
You
level
put
zero lineup
you put
is
Finn above
whatever.
Austin right now, or I swear to
The
God.
level 1 what's the level 1 lineup? You're just running Yuki Austin.
it's just Yuki. It's just Yuki.
Stop toying with my emotions.
Yuki
then
and
you-
the Lisbeth.
Then you go into the early level 2 game. You just early play heal vanilla.
I really
Yeah,
would
was
not
that
like.
healer?
Lisbeth?
Yeah, you play like Lisbeth maybe.
Lisbeth is
you know?
really good skill.
I can't think of a
There's a
time
healer.
if you handed me
Yeah.
either deck, like any build of either deck, if I would.
Sure, but you're clearly
Take
biased because you're also
AT.
Snake Bin on Adventure Time. This is like very clear. Like,
No,
you have a
I
lot of bad
think
experiences with it.
I think Stock Soul Choice is like a totally fine Adventure Time deck, but like
Just drop them to D and we'll be fine.
like both
How,
to
how-
D.
how about we hear? How about we
Just
hear
kill
from
them
some of the?
both.
How about we hear from some of the people who haven't been talking as much? What about Kit? What about Brian? What about There's so many people in this fucking call. I'm gonna pull
Kit,
up
Brian.
Discord again and look.
And Nico and Hanson.
Hanson and all.
I've already been talking and I've been
Yeah, you-
criticizing. I'm gonna be honest. I think you're saying like I actually think Sao is a better deck, and
What
I
does
think
Sao- how does it
you
do anything? Like,
you
That's
discounting Sao is kind of whack. I'll be honest.
Sao doesn't do anything. I literally have no respect for that.
It does
set. Like,
everything.
it does nothing.
I
It does
think that
everything. That's the point of God.
Very
Everything-
very high quality arguments,
Like,
gentlemen.
yeah.
I want to hear what everybody has to say on this. I want to hear like everybody's like opinion, even the wallflowers.
All right.
chime in.
What's the zero lineup for Sal? You have what? Amagi? You have the
Clean
Top
cut
two
runner,
pieces.
Amagi, Silica.
The Asuna that shuffles
and-
back
and
in
Stock
usually.
Asuna,
You have the big
Drop
drop
search,
search
they
as
could
well.
fix 3
Yeah.
yellow.
Big drop searcher, yeah.
zero lineup's fine. You go level 1, you have Yuki combo. It's the best pay 1 combo in the game.
Yep.
You have,
Uh,
you have Lisbeth as well usually.
Yeah, but
If
You
you're
have the
on the
Lisbeth
door.
right? So it's not terrible. It's fine. What
You
are you
have
scaling?
one of the
You
better
have a
stalker
mid-game?
early plays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have a
Yeah.
Yeah,
mid-game.
your
What's
early and
the
mid
early
game is
play?
fine. I think your top end is maybe a little questionable.
What's
Yeah.
Elizabeth early play? I forgot.
Two or less.
Two or less
lock
lock
on.
heal.
Really puck early
It's
play.
like 11k.
okay.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah.
And then you
Puck
just
is worth
roll.
that, like, technically.
You roll over into what? Money counter. You have stock swap. Then you just have your.
Stock money counter. You
your
have
selection
the
of
Asuna
finishers, healers.
assist.
You have the ditch 2 Lisbeth, ditch 2 burn
Yeah.
1 Lisbeth.
Pocket Leafa.
It's like
Yeah.
Clock kick leaf, yeah.
And then it's like
Yeah.
that's
Really high
like
board.
You have a lot of options to pick from, but none of them are like very super
Yeah.
impactful.
it's
Yeah.
a toolbox. You're not like super heavy on your
They
finishers.
play.
But
It's like Milky Holmes finisher stuff.
So does
Yeah.
the better rest
I'd
of the
rather play
deck.
Milky Home finishers.
Yeah,
But-
I know. Me too.
Does the better like rest of the deck push it over AT with their like one finisher?
I think that's the question.
That's all AT does. They're pushing everything to that finish.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm inclined. I'm more than.
Well, that's why I'd
inclined
rather
for
grab
Sal's better
Sal.
deck.
That's why I'd
Exactly.
always rather grab Sal. Like I feel like it wins at more levels than
I
AT.
think Sword Art Online is more consistent. And for that reason, it should probably be just a hair above Adventure Time, is my
I
opinion.
think I'm willing to also agree that Sal
I
winning
just-
at more levels.
I don't know, man. Like I think like standby choice Adventure Time is a lot more consistent than people give it credit for. It's
I
actually
think that's
like,
literally a high
I
roll deck.
remember, like I was not a believer in that deck, and I was not a believer in Adventure Time, and I'm still not really a believer in Adventure Time. But like playing against it as much as I have now, it has genuinely surprised me. And whether you choose to acknowledge that or not, I don't really care. But I am very much impressed by that. by
Well,
that deck.
I won't acknowledge it
Maybe
then.
I will not.
Because every time I
Okay.
played into that deck, I think it's absolute shit compared to all the Global Soul versions, actually. And I'm a standby
Jason,
apologist.
Jason, I want you to know, dog. I
I'm not a
agree,
standby apologist. Don't even lie.
I
Like,
agree with you
can
about
play for
Adventure
everything
Time,
for standby.
but I think that like, I think it's
I
just
just
you and
think
me.
Sal's
I think
bad.
everybody else is saying Sal.
I mean, look, I don't even think Adventure Time is good. Like, I think it's like bottom of C tier at best. Maybe like it could even be like top of D tier, and I'll accept that.
Alright.
I
Not
just think
only
it's
that, I already
I-
told you the fact
I-
that we're arguing about positioning of like D, C tier to me is already kind of whatever.
I think the
Fine, that's your
consensus
opinion, though. Whatever.
the consensus seems to be
Uh,
that Sao is higher than Adventure Time, so we can just move on. I think.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
Sure.
seriously.
let's move on.
All right, what even comes next?
Is it time
Both
for me
free
to
and
draw
Magia
for
Record.
P5?
Yeah,
Both free goes in
Magia
D. Magia
Record.
Record goes in C. There, we're done.
Magia Record does not go in C.
Yeah, it does.
No, it does not.
Beaufrey is
That deck's
definitely
broken.
Beaufrey is definitely
mean-
worse than Sao and Adventure
Yes,
Time.
yes.
Magia Record is also probably worse than every deck in C right now. As
Is it
much
better
as I
than
hate to
Beaufry?
admit it.
Actually, it's probably
I
better.
think Magia Record has like a good
Wait.
mid game though, right? Like,
What'd
a
you
real
say,
good
Ryan?
mid-game.
Sorry.
Magia Record's actually, I think, better than Goblin Slayer, but then that's an issue with this tier list in general.
Like,
What do you
I don't
mean?
know. I think Magia Record is like really good mid game, right? Like,
It's 1 to 2.
Yeah,
is
it
pretty
really
sick.
hits its spike at level 2, especially like
Yeah.
but like it gets there, and it has like the free fresh, like the 6-card brainstorm, like free fresh loop too. That's like really sick.
So
And I
wait,
think-
so
I
we're
think
saying
it
it's
does,
better
like,
than
really
Goblin Slayer?
something.
But like, what's the
I
problem with the
totally
list in
accept it.
general then?
It's Goblin Slayer and Magia Record should both be in D, in my eyes.
In your eyes, like
Yeah.
everything is worse than these.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can agree with that.
Do we
maybe.
think that that's a marked power drop off between AOT and like Kaguya and the rest?
I
think so.
actually think the drop off is between Magia Record and Goblin Slayer. If I had to think about it, like
Like
If
something like this?
even
Like
just looking at like the decks Nico and Ryan play for Magia Record, I feel like I would like rather take that than like take Goblin Slayer because I think like the
Would you take
the
that over
power-
AOT?
power. I don't know. Honestly, I mean I'm pretty comfortable with AOT, so like I like that set a lot. So I'm a little bit biased. So it's hard for me to say, but like looking at what Magia Record
I would
does,
take
right,
Kaguya or AOT over
I'm too.
Goblin Slayer.
I am like
Madoka.
mostly an outsider with it. I've only played against it. I haven't really gotten to play it, but like the 6-card brainstorm seems really strong and it's very consistent and it does it like so often. It's really obnoxious.
I think
Having
it's-
access to that free fresher is really cool.
I think the brainstorm is
um,
less consistent than.
Well, it's because you have It's because you have the level 0 too. The level 0 that scries cards like
Cali?
It's just like
engine
yeah,
going.
yeah, 6-7 card brainstorms are like cool and all, but like I feel like if that deck like misses a brainstorm or two, like it
But the thing,
you just can't play the
really
game
hard
anymore.
when you go.
All right, let's
two stalkers, hit a brainstorm, send them both to stock, and then just brainstorm like 2 more times, and you're just like, oh wow, my deck's moved, free fresh.
It's like the only brainstorm engine that's at,
and
like
then
compression and
net
hand positive.
You net positive on this in stock on these brainstorms, and
You
that's
net
like, so
positive stock,
obnoxious.
you net positive hand, you net positive
then,
compression.
Well, you
and then,
definitely
like-
can as long as you hit the brainstorm, right?
Felicia's like a
Let's-
perfectly competent combo that has the ability to pay out stock if it ever needs to, which I think is really cool.
This is
And the early plays are all pretty solid.
Let's
right?
come at this from the other angle. Let's let Ryan and Nico say if they think the drop off of power between like Kaguya and AOT is worth going down another tier for these two sets. They have the most experience.
AOT in D tier.
Yeah, Ryan hates every set, so
I'd put AOT in D tier. I think the power drop off is AOT Kaguya.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really think Bang
can
Dream
see-
is better than those either.
That's fair. That is perfectly fair. But like Kaguya and above are decks I would reasonably take to a tournament and like expect some results, and then anything below maybe not. Like maybe Magia Record, but that's about it.
I mean, I personally like Magia Record better than Memory Bang Dream, but
Also, for what it's worth, Magia Record has like a pretty decent matchup into the B and A tier decks. If
I
you
agree.
opt into the playing blue at level 1 with the
I've played ReZero
yeah, wait.
into the Sayaka, right?
Oh
The
my
early
god,
play?
the Yashio. Oh my god, that was so.
Oh.
The Yashio level 1 bomb and then the Sayaka early play at 2 make like the matchups into the A and D tier like actually really good for Magia.
Yeah,
Right,
I
how does
played
it do
ReZero into
to
Magia
Val?
multiple times, and it's really annoying.
Nico, what do you think?
I think Magia is whatever, dude. Like, I think I've already said this piece, and I don't know how often I keep saying it. I think the fact that we're arguing over placements of, like, decks that I personally would not take to a tournament if I want to actually win is whatever. I don't think this merits too much discussion. Like, Magia Record's fine where it is right now for me. If I'm going into singles and I'm, like, going with the mindset of I want to win this event, I am never bringing Magia Record.
I will admit I do think Magia Record's a better trios deck than a solo.
I think the big thing that holds Magia Record back is the low rolls in that deck are fucking brutal, like almost unrecoverable brutal.
Really?
Yes.
Have you ever seen Magia Record with
like,
2 brainstorms in a row?
Yeah. Have you seen Magia Record with 2 brainstorms and then they're like, oh shit, how do I play the game?
Maybe
And then they say, "How?"
This is
Never seen that happen.
No, this is why I swapped over to door choice instead of bag choice for most of the list now, because it door choice like raises the floor like significantly to the point where like you don't actually have as many fail cases, and that in turn makes it a better tournament deck.
Yeah, like Ryan. I don't know when Ryan obviously Ryan's a good player, and I respect that part of it too. But like the deck just seems like very very solid and very very stable. And it seems like it has the ability, even if it like has one bad turn, it can kind of like flex that bad turn into something better, like pretty easily.
I think all of the deck strength lies at level 2, and
I agree. I definitely don't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's like the big like appeal of the deck. And
although Felicia being huge is like
Felicia being huge is nice, but at the same time, it's how to like word this properly. You can't seal the deal very well in that deck.
Yeah, I mean the same thing with slime, right?
So then, so then I guess at that point your win condition is either just like chipping your opponent out or trying to play for like time scumming, and I just don't think a lot of the times that's good enough. I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's an inherent flaw with like the healing meta in general, and decks like slime being like a heal deck, like 8-bar and ReZero. Are both heal decks that have actual top ends, whereas Slime does not. Slime has like the one combo and maybe the burner if it chooses to play it. I guess Magia Record doesn't really have the option to play those cards. It has
I thought Madoka had the Iroha that you choose to burn 2, 3, or 4.
No, they play Felicia.
I think for the English build, and I'm going to agree with Ryan here. I think if you're playing the deck in English, you're not going to be playing bag choice. You're going to be playing probably something along the lines of like level 1 choice and then level 3 whatever, probably gate.
Yeah, just empty door, and then you just play the
just because like your level 1 is not big enough to protect like to do anything against like the top 5 decks if you're playing bag. And then like if your level 1 gets answered in bag, you're just actually struggling for the rest of the game.
What I wanna ask is, do you think that in English the extra kind of need for a finisher? Do you think like a one of that door combo is like actually worth something? Like more merit in England?
Maybe, but I'm inclined to think you would just play the off finishers instead. Something akin to the Kyoko from Rebellion or the Kyoko from the mobile game set.
The Ren is like an unplayable card. I tried so hard to make that card work. It literally does nothing. You never want to spend 2 stock for a do nothing card that sometimes burns a random number.
Yeah.
Either of the Kyokos are just better.
That's fair. Okay.
To kind of shit on the run a little more, it's not even that, because you also need the climax and you need a reverse.
So we're just leaving this as is in the C tier here, because we're not going to reconcile having the only C deck being LSS. So,
or you throw Sunshine up and then you leave those in C tier.
No, because Sunshine
is not a B tier.
Sunshine's a notable drop. I don't think anyone's arguing that. I
was the only one that was like, yeah.
I think having a wide C tier is fine. D is a notable drop off. We can say that Goblin Slayer, like in Madoka to Sal,
Goblin Slayer and stuff is big enough that okay, that's fair.
Yeah, okay. So let's just move on then. Bofree, obviously, like I think that slots right under AT. Is there any other deck better than Bofree?
I would argue P5 above AT.
I would not.
I think P5 has a explosive top end that's like comparable to AT, and it does everything else better than AT throughout the zero history.
Is Joker comparable to Enter Time?
I think so.
Joker has an actual fail case of 0.
I'm talking about Ryuji plus Jokers.
Sure, but like you can't always play for that, right? Like there's still fail case to Joker. I guess if you can fully set it up, then yeah, like it's like really strong.
I could see P5 is stronger than Beaufry.
Yeah,
The
there's an argument for
0 to 2 and
P5 in this
P5
tier.
is
It's pretty atrocious.
it's pretty bad.
It
And like
is.
it's especially kind of sad with people actually like playing Adachi. Like that's a real card
Mhm.
people are playing now, and
Mhm.
so
And,
now
like-
2-1 Joker doesn't survive.
I mean, you don't
You're-
actually feel bad when they spend a stock to answer your 2-1 Joker.
Wait, how can we say
You're a
how
field
can,
deck.
how can we put like Persona in that list and like when like that deck's trying to wall out at 1 and like just gets immediately
Yeah, I
answered
think
by
that's the
all
main
top
problem.
decks. If you're not
Beaufry.
putting like Fujimi up here, then I don't think you can put
Fate
Persona up
bodies
here.
this deck, like Fate irredeemably bodies this
Wait.
deck.
I mean, I also think Fujimi should be.
Say
Just
what you want
both.
with Beaufry. Beaufry 0 to 2 is insane. Beaufry 0 to 2 is so good.
I guess yeah, it
top
has
end is
good early
whatever.
play stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good early. Like, forget the choice combo, right? It's level 0 to 2
No,
is
I
so
was
good.
looking at just the 3/2 green one and the blue
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
Those
you
are
don't even need
both
to
really
worry
good,
about the top end right there. Just a 0 to 2 without a top end is already really good. I would put that above Persona because of that. Because it's
I
so
just
much
think,
more
like,
consistent.
I don't know. Persona just feels like that deck that it's like it has to wall at 1. If it doesn't wall at 1, it loses the game. And like
I would actually disagree. Like, I think
I think I would rather play Contai than Persona. I'm not gonna
like
lie.
I think you can set
No,
up
I'd
once
rather-
you
I'd
have
rather play
2-1
Pokemon
Joker, and
Contact,
that
yeah.
like actually gives you enough like advantage to go on.
But like, okay, so it's a what? A search then a draw, right?
Draw
Yeah.
then search.
Or draw then
Well,
search, sure.
yeah.
You can always search a level 1.
Yeah, but then like
or
he's
lower.
not holding field.
Well,
Okay,
Seven,
all
eight,
right,
nine.
okay. So like the placement, like okay, is it better than Adventure Time and Beaufry and Sal? I would say no.
No.
Into this meta,
Yeah.
the answer is no.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I don't think anything else is worth.
No
thinking
matter what,
about.
no matter what level 1 you choose in Adventure Time, it's probably better positioned in this meta than walling.
I'm
Yeah,
okay with
I think-
putting P5 on here solely because of Joker. Joker
Yeah,
can
I
be
think-
insane.
Joker, I think P5 being a wall deck at 1 makes it like pretty close to unplayable right now.
Is
be
there
honest.
anything even worth ranking? Maybe Memory Snow.
No.
Memory.
No.
I think the only other sets that are worth considering are Memory Snow, Old ReZero, like the book, still playing book stock,
Oh,
Soul,
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
Stockholm is something to talk
And-
It's
about.
still a thing, yeah.
Or-
and maybe Bunny Girl. I think
doesn't-
that's,
Buddha.
I
Doesn't
think-
Book Stock Soul ReZero like also just kind of like fold to Data Live?
Yes. Yeah, it
I
does.
mean, what doesn't?
I mean, like no, but like Book Stockstill can't even win lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like the
Like Rem doesn't get like. There's a reason.
So it's
that
ranking
I-
these 4 in some order.
there's a
P5
reason
Memory
I said
Snow.
You cut Rem.
Does
from,
Bunny Girl
like,
even make it?
3-0.
I
don't
would play
think
Fujimi
so.
before Bunny Girl.
Yeah, like personally,
I wouldn't. I
Bunny
wouldn't
Girl-
play
Bunny
Bunny Girl,
Girl-
but I'm
I think
really
Bunny Girl's
biased.
by deck.
Bunny Girl needs its second step to actually be a real deck. I think.
Yeah, no, like I just hate the set 1 deck so much. It
I
doesn't
just don't think
do
it does
anything.
anything anymore.
Yep.
Probably I would put Fate Grand Order above like a lot of.
Like that deck also.
I would
auto
put
loses,
Fate Grand
so-
Order over a lot of these decks actually.
Wait, actually, yeah, I think I would rather play Fate Grand Order over Bunny Girl,
Yeah,
but I
I-
wouldn't rank either of them.
Yeah, and I would not.
Yeah.
Rank it, yeah. Just
I mean, I'd rather play Fate
is
Grand
Memory
Order
Snow
over.
worth putting on here?
No, I don't think it. I don't
I
think.
don't
I'd
think
rather
so.
play Fate Go over. If I were to play Fate Go over Memory Snow, I probably wouldn't put Memory Snow.
I'd
on
rather
there.
take them both off. Yeah.
But-
The only reason to even consider Memory Snow is the floodgate, right?
The anti
And it doesn't hit like it.
yeah.
It
The
maybe it hits
standby-
Aqua,
the
it hits the
anti-standby
Aqua
anti-burn one.
Cocochino,
I mean-
and that's it.
Anti-burn one's just like not relevant.
It
right?
hits
Exactly. It's not
80.
even relevant.
No, it hits.
Like that, which
It hits
isn't good
AOT,
enough.
it hits Kaguya, it technically hits Magia Record.
Right,
It
but like,
technically hits
Hits
you're
Love Live
you're
Sunshine.
planning to beat like the top 5 decks, right? Not like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
C tier stuff.
Yeah, then it only hurts.
It only hits Konosuba, and then they just
Yep.
grab one of their other
They got
500
they
fucking
got the,
finishers and
they
play
got
that
the
one instead.
Fumio
Yeah,
Burn
Konosuba
5.
could just play around it if it wants to.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
don't care.
So,
It
like,
just closes off one option for them. Darn.
so I guess
Oh.
does
Oof.
What your level
Book
3 your level 1 combo
Stock Soul?
sucks. No, wait
Huh?
for what? Or ReZero?
does
ReZero,
Book
like regular
Stock
ReZero?
Soul ReZero make the list?
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it's. I think
fine.
it's. I think it's still. I think it's actually probably like a C tier deck. I think it has more power
I
than
think
like.
I think it's better than
Balance
Adventure
up,
Time
but,
itself.
I think it's better than Goblin Slayer.
I think it's better
I
than
think it's better
Goblin
than
Slayer.
Yeah, actually, yep.
What deck?
Yellow, blue, ReZero.
Stock Soul.
ReZero, yeah.
I think it's probably.
I think
better
it's
than
hanging out with
Goblin Slayer.
Madoka.
Is it
Like-
better than Magia Record?
Probably not. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe of like this. It's probably on par. Like probably the same.
Because
I'd
I
say.
think the early play game plus
Oh.
the fucking stupid anti-change counter.
We'll
helps
give it
a
to
lot.
Mod Record because Iraha's cute, but
So
similar.
like, so the way to look at it is like, if you play again, it's really bad in the Dow. Like probably near unplayable in a Dow.
Mhm.
It can do something versus Fate. It can do something versus Konosuba. It can be really hard, mind you, and the fact that they can
Find into
actually
slime.
get rid of the fact that they can get rid of the like rem and stuff is and like the felt is really upsetting. But they do get to leverage their disgusting anti-change counter, and I think that's just a card you can never forget about in ReZero. Whether even because it's one of those things like some people don't even play it in Green ReZero, right? But that's still a card you could like never just be like maybe they don't play it. Like you always have to be scared of that card because it's just so cost efficient. And then its tap counter is still very much like a pretty strong thing, and it's like the only deck playing a defensive counter right now, right? Oh, I guess Dow because they have the minus soul counter as well. But I think it just has like it's just that thing where it's like, especially when you pilot it by like a really competent player, it's a lot stronger than it's definitely like a skill tested deck, I think. And it's just one of those things where like if it goes off, it feels like insane, right? Like it has a really high ceiling, and its floor isn't even that bad. It's just kind of scary to play versus Dow. I think that's its biggest
Okay, so
downside.
whatever. The placing's fine then. Is there anything else we even want to put in here in D?
No.
I mean,
In like P5 memory snow fake grand order, I think
we
this
cut
is
those two. ReZero.
I think you just
So,
drop them
mem-
both.
yeah,
I'll
you
leave,
drop
I'd
FGO
rather
as well.
leave P5, but I don't think
Yeah.
Memory Snow and
Yeah, you
FGO
cut
are
Memory Snow
worth
and
putting on me.
FGO. Like those
I don't
are
think you
just
ever
not
take
worth
those to an
anything.
event.
Is that the
Yep.
consensus? Is there any
Memory-
argument for
Memory
keeping
Snow has
either of these?
nothing.
No.
Thank you.
Anyone
Is-
speaking up? This is the last chance.
I don't think. Andy, you're the only person that likes Memory Snow here.
Oh
And he
yeah, I like
died.
Memory Snow.
Oh, there he is.
Any argument for keeping either FGO or Memory Snow on this list in D tier?
I love FGO, but no.
I could give a shit about FGO. I think Memory Snow has like strong potential as maybe like an anti-meta deck to Dow if you're running like a lot
does
like
it do
heavy
for
on the
Dow?
anti-standby.
Dude, they don't care about the anti-standby because you can't even contest their cards when they're anti-standby.
Well,
doesn't
like you'd have to
matter.
change your build up a little bit, but
Do what?
What?
What cards do you have? What cards do you have to change your build?
Oh, okay,
into?
wait. What does double back row hit? You would have to
each
feel
of the
triple.
REM anti-standby brainstorms, so they give neg 2,000 per
Oh, you're
level.
putting your
So if you have
brainstorm
like
back
double
in their
back
hand,
row, you
right?
have double
So
brainstorm that's like
4K per
negative
level?
4,000 to their field for each level they stand by.
Choka's still going in for what, 65? Or is she still just chilling at 65?
I don't even think it matters. I think Dow
Oh,
sides
if
you
you
out.
kill off the other stuff on their field, the Toka shrinks.
I mean, okay, barring the Dow matchup, what does it do against anything else?
It does.
You have anti-ping for what that
What
matters.
actually pings? Look at those
We
decks.
just
What
we just
pings?
went over the fact that the anti-ping doesn't affect anything below B tier.
Outside of Konosuba's Aqua.
Yeah.
That's it. And we all know that Konosuba has four,
And then
like,
level
four other
combos
cards.
ass.
to play.
These are level 3 combos ass. The level 0 lineup is. You have a Rize.
To be fair,
okay?
the Rem level 3 is like the best part of the deck because
I don't think
it's
Rumble is like
Not
that.
even that.
I don't know. Let me put it this way for you. I've been playing a lot of ReZero Memory Snow lately. I think the deck's like competent and strong, but I think the placement you have it there, like bottom of D tier, I think that's fair.
I mean, we're arguing to not even have it on the list. Like, we don't think it's most of us.
I
don't
think
it's actually
leaving
a
it.
good event.
I think leaving it there is fine.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
It's only fine because it's another ReZero deck, and ReZero is cool.
Like I could see the
Or-
argument for being like I know it's a hot take that like I really like it, but I think
Everybody
it's
gets
probably like below the stuff above it. Does that make sense?
Alright, does anybody feel strongly enough to want it off the list? Let's go with that.
I just don't care about its placement at all.
Yeah, it's
You can
whatever.
take it off or leave it on. It doesn't matter.
All
I'm
right, so
playing
we'll
it.
just leave it. Nobody cares.
I'd also prefer to keep it on, to be honest.
I think it's relevant enough as like
Sure,
an
it's a deck you
anti-meta
probably
deck.
see, so it's probably a good idea to have an idea of where people think it falls.
You know, I was
Alright.
going to mention this earlier too, but I kind of feel the same about Contai. I think Contai could be up
No.
there.
No.
With
I
the
don't
fact
remember the
that,
last time I've seen
no,
a
hear me
Contai
out.
deck.
Hear me out. It's like the only competent set that has anti-heal, and the whole
It's
meta
not
is like heal
competent.
spam. Also, anti-salvage
It's
hits actually a lot of the meta hits.
Anti-salvage does hit a lot of the meta sets.
What?
Top
what is it?
5.
I agree with you.
Just
Does it
just-
really?
Konosuba, that's about
No,
it.
it hits Chizuru and
Slime.
Slime. Konosuba and Slime.
As far as
It
far as
hits
anti-heal
slime
goes, it
specifically.
hits Dow, Slime, ReZero, Madoka.
How does it
Whoa, what does
Dow?
it do against Dow?
Konosuba.
What does it
What
do
you
against
can
Dow?
tell?
They have a lot of healers. Everything heals.
Oh, the anti-heal. You meant, we were talking about the anti. We thought you were talking about the anti-salvage hitting thing.
No, for anti-salvage, like Fate, if they land on 8 door, which you know
They're
it's
not.
still up in the air, it's
Well,
like
the
really good
issue-
against 8 door.
Do you know what the issue with anti-heal is, though?
Slime, Love Life Sunshine.
you can't
Just-
heal.
Do you know what the issue with anti-heal is, though?
What?
Basically, all these sets have a stock heal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
except for Dell.
No.
Yeah, but it still shuts off a lot of their other heals.
Does it?
That's
When
not
they
good
all have
enough.
when they all have the stock heal option, and then like they're like a lot of these sets are probably willing to pay for the heal at least once or twice, right?
Yeah, you don't stop Faye from healing. You don't stop Slime from healing. You don't stop
Contai,
Konosuba.
it's like pay 2 extra if you want to heal. That's like
Yeah.
a pretty big tag.
No, but like,
That's
but like they have.
just
The
one
thing
of
is,
them,
they
right?
have stock healers, and
So-
every single one of those decks beside Day of Life has to
Right.
actually play a stock
So, like,
healer.
An issue, right, with Contai is that they don't have their stock healer yet in English. So
Yeah.
if you're
Then
playing
there's
anti-heal,
themselves
you can't heal either, and your deck is not like so
And you're not
amazing that you're
Grisaya,
not going
right?
to fall.
You're-
You're going to fall behind a lot. So like
Your deck-
not
your
being
deck
able to
doesn't do
heal is going to be really
Yeah.
fucked up
Yeah,
for you.
and
Because the
your
rest
deck
of the deck
doesn't do
doesn't do
enough
anything.
to
You're not.
top end.
Contai is not Grisaya, where Grisaya can say, "Fuck you, you don't get healers. I don't get healers. You don't get healers," and then it global souls you out because the bombs are stupid. It doesn't have that power. Contai is like, "Oh shit, wait, I have anti heals that you don't heal, but that's just me crutching because like my
Contai
deck's
needs
kind of
another set to
incompetent."
be relevant.
And,
Yeah,
and Prince,
I think if we get the next set, then yeah, Contai becomes probably relevant.
and
it
Prince
is probably
doesn't
Zuyo,
do enough
but-
right now.
Yeah, Prince
Prince gets my little
sheet
Cheeto if they can't get over it.
Yeah.
Prince is
Prince
upsetting.
fucking sucks right now.
Prince doesn't seem great right now, but like
There's nothing else to play.
What are you
you
gonna
have
play
like a lot of
Shimakaze?
back support. Can you like
No,
back up
2K1.
over Dal standbys and stuff like that?
They
like
just-
actually win on defense.
They
with a
just
backup?
they just MLS you. It doesn't matter.
You can play Shiba
Yeah, they can
Kane.
kill like your
They can also just play the
sheet.
Shido that blinks, and now she loses her 2K power that she gained off
And
the
like-
combo.
And you're investing a lot into it.
yeah.
It's not like Puck where you're only investing a stock into it.
Yeah,
Like this is two
and
stocks.
Kashima combo also just sucks.
It's
Yeah.
And
kind
has
of
to
like
reverse. And
what's
it
been
won't get reverses because it's not big.
it's kind of like what's been said already that like forward-based strategies just are like not really playable right now.
You have to be
Real
super
lives.
big to be a
The only
board-based
board you
strategy.
can play is Dell.
And
Or
ReZero.
ReZero.
ReZero, yeah, because you have the hexproof back row.
Yeah, well, regardless, I think the fact that it has such a strong anti-heal and it has
Is it strong?
actual
It's
access
not-
to
I
anti-salvo
don't think it's
or,
strong.
like,
I
that's what
don't
we're
think it's good
saying.
enough. Part of the
I
reason
don't think it puts it like higher than like Memory Snow, but I think it puts it on the list. It's like a
I
consideration.
disagree.
I think
wholeheartedly.
Memory Snow is like bottom of the barrel for what I would
Yeah.
see at a tournament.
Like-
if you were bringing Conte to a tournament, I want you to sign that match slip right there the second I sit down and you show me your deck.
Andy, have you played Contai?
Yeah,
I
a little
played
bit.
Conte in Chicago and it made me want to literally like
Oh,
just neck myself right there.
I played Contai when it like came like Euro Contai when it came out, and I thought it was good then. But like that was before we got Goblin Slayer and
Before
Fate
Zoomer
and
Weiss.
Yeah,
Slime
Goblin
and
Slayer is just a
ReZero.
better version.
Yeah,
Zoomer
like,
Weiss is insane.
Before we got all these like good sets.
well, I mean,
Well,
I
for
sat
what it's
there-
worth, Kanta is decently placed in Japanese meta as it
Yeah,
stands
yeah,
right
but it
now.
has
Well,
Tashkent-
right, because
it
they
has
got that new
Tashkent
set.
stuff, though.
Yeah,
The
It
new
is
set makes it
Tashkent.
good.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought the new set was Eurofleet for some reason.
No,
'cause I was
no,
thinking of.
no.
I was thinking of
No.
Tashkent.
No, it's
but then I
Fifth
remembered.
Phase.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no,
It
if we
doesn't
got
have
to
Tashkent is
start,
fifth
it'd be
phase.
a real argument for this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But right now it just doesn't have anything like, and I genuinely felt like Conte wasn't good enough. What was that now? 7 months ago? 7 months ago? No longer. Wait, a year, over a year ago now. A year and 7 months ago, Conte didn't feel like good enough, and the power spike of this game has gone up since then. And if I didn't feel like that set wasn't good enough then, it's definitely not good enough now.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Like,
this set's relatively like weak power wise. I think. I guess my argument's like solely based on the anti-heal and the anti-salvage. Maybe that's enough to prop the deck up.
No, this
No,
isn't.
But
This
we
isn't
just
like
explained
Grisaya.
why those don't
Like,
matter.
This isn't Grisaya, where Grisaya had something, so like anti-heal mattered because Grisaya was still a competent deck that just leveraged anti-heal to like make it like.
You can't
game
just
better.
have
Also-
you can't just have one or two tech abilities now.
Also,
It's like it's just
Floodgate
not
doesn't
how
matter
Weiss
like
works
that.
now.
You know,
Anti-heal was
Floodgate's
also much
good.
more well positioned in JP
Yeah,
as a
Floodgates,
Psychono.
Too many decks are too good at like going around the floodgates now. That is, this is an old old Weiss where like, holy fuck, I crouch on my door.
Oh,
like,
you have anti-heal out? Oh, I'll just use my stock killer instead this game.
Yeah,
Who
well,
cares?
it's even like decks played doors, decks crouched on doors, decks crouched on Marika as a combo. You're like, you're making me decide between my Marika and like dealing damage to you this turn. I can't decide that. That's awful. Now it's like, yeah, okay.
Whatever.
It's too turbo. Weiss
Yeah.
becomes super turbo.
And it also requires you to find that
It
card.
just
early, and I
doesn't
don't think
matter.
Contact
It's
has,
like-
the selection to find that
You,
card. Those kind
you
of cards
slam
early.
anti-salvage and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll find some other way. Like,
Well, 'cause you just like,
Yeah, exactly.
you
it's just
also
like,
too,
oh, you
like,
slam
you're
anti-heal and
fine,
it's like,
right?
I'll just play my stock killer instead this game. That's
You do
okay.
have Akatsuki's
I
on
won't
this
heal.
stuff.
You have what?
Like,
Akatsuki's.
Sure, you do have a Kotsky.
Wait,
But
does,
that's like
you
the
also don't have a
English
playable
content have
brainstorm.
barrels?
Conte is fine
Does
cards.
English content have the barrels event?
It
Yeah.
does.
Yes.
Not the
You're not
two,
playing
yes.
barrels.
They're not in
Barrels
blue.
is blue, and blue's not a color you play.
you have what you have the runner like for plussing zeros you have like
No,
just the
plugging
runner.
wasn't the problem. My problem was like early selection to find things like the.
It doesn't
anti-salvage
matter how
stuff.
good your random tech cards are when the rest of your deck sucks. That's the
Like-
problem. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like
Yeah.
having
Well,
having
what
Azusa.
zeros
do we have?
No.
You have-
Let me talk.
are
Having
we-
Azusa and anti-heal and fucking anti-salvage isn't enough to make your deck good enough to play.
Yeah, but now we're talking about the rest of the deck, Carmen. We can't say the rest of the deck sucks without talking about it.
Yeah, Prince sucks. I think that's obvious. Kashima also sucks. Your early plays also suck.
Yeah,
Your,
now
your,
what-
your
now what's
field-based
your
game
lineup?
plan doesn't work.
You also have Inazuma's.
You have Ricky.
Yeah,
you
it's
have
a Ricky.
Inazumi Ricky.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
Ricky,
you
you
have
have a
fine barrels and
Magi.
nothing else.
You have what?
Akatsuki,
You have Akatsuki, you have Jinsu.
Jinsu.
You have
Double
the
zeros probably
runner.
actually
You
really good.
Fine
Yeah,
zeros
the,
and nothing
um,
else.
What's the class? Yeah, Jinsu. Never mind.
Like,
We already highlighted how the
three
field-based
engine.
game doesn't matter.
yeah, I
Yes.
just think Kantai just doesn't matter. Like,
Yep.
It just,
I'm gonna
it
be
just-
honest. If I sat down with any of the B or higher, or even C or higher decks into Kontai on this list, I would expect a free
Yeah.
win.
That's what I'm
unless I
saying.
got
That's
sacked.
That's literally what I said. If you sit down and you play Kantai against me, just sign the match slip so I can just not waste 30 minutes of my life.
Yeah, just let me
Like-
move on. I disrespect the deck that much. That's my own personal opinion.
I
though.
think any of the D
Agreed.
tier decks as well.
I like Contai, and I don't think that it's good.
No. Honestly,
I'd
I-
rather bring
like,
Memory Snow than
I
Kontai, and that's
respect-
saying a
I
lot.
respect at least the first 4 decks in D tier enough to be like, you know,
That's a lie. I hate Memory
there's a
Snow.
chance I lose to this. I'm gonna be real. Like,
Oh,
I can lose to this.
Honestly, if I'm playing an anti-salvage deck, I'd rather play Tulip Brew, and I think Tulip Brew had an argument to be in D tier.
Dude, Tulip, give that set its second set, and then maybe we can talk about that. But
Tulip Brew still has anti-salvage, and like
well,
Yami is still
anti-salvage
fine.
doesn't matter. That's the problem. These things don't matter.
All right, I'm saving the tier list. This is done.
Yeah.
This is over.
We don't need to hear about
Thank
Contai
God.
anymore.
Wait, I had one more thing I wanted to bring up.
What was it, Andy?
What?
Was what about Sao Alicization?
No.
No.
Like
No.
Riaz was killing it with that deck.
Yeah, but Riaz is also better.
We,
than most
we don't have a
players.
wait for next set tier to put Contai
Yeah.
and Alicization in.
I think Alicization becomes a real deck once we get the next
Yeah,
set.
there we go. Just paste that right over there.
You don't think it's even like D tier?
Nice.
I think
There we go. Fairy Tale made the list.
No,
Hell yeah, dude!
Yeah,
Fairy
no,
Tale. Top
At least
that.
I personally, Andy, since I
Was that the
I
original one?
I don't think it I don't think it like.
Oh, you
I
had a
don't think-
perfectly good F tier there.
What's it called? So what does Alicization have? It's sitting on a
Hell
level 1
Bouncer.
Magro. It has the
It
JC.
It has
the Ricky.
finisher and the early play.
And a good finish.
I mean, it's as
The
good as
early
Fang
play is
Dream,
actually
right?
really good, I
It's
think.
literally as good as Tulip Brew.
Yeah, I'd say that's about true, and I wouldn't put
Yeah.
Tulip Brew on this.
Great,
Notably,
great video,
only
guys.
JC in English
Like-
right now, right?
Nope.
Like,
Like-
All right.
Top has a JC.
You know what?
Oh,
I'm cutting
yeah.
it off. That's
Diamond
enough.
Ninja has a JC.
That's enough. No more. No more discussion.
I don't want to
It's-
hear about
it's
these
been
shitty
it's
sets
been
anymore.
hours. It's like Nico said, and Nico unfortunately had to leave us. He had real boomer hours. He has to work tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
so he dropped off. But I do think discussing anything below like Love Live Sunshine as being the gatekeeper between C tier and the rest is like actually almost worthless. I think discussing the placement of the C tier maybe has value in like a very extended discussion. But like honestly, like if you're not playing something S through B here, I do think you're fucking up. And I think we can all agree on that point at this point
Yeah.
after this discussion. If you are not playing something in S through B here and you're bringing it to a tournament, you are making a poor decision until something happens with Dow.
I just think the biggest issue is like you have to account for the people that want to play the things they want, and I think it's always still nice to be like, look, if you like these things and you want to be that guy, like you know, you can at least bring this.
Well,
and,
yeah,
like,
that's why we
do
continued.
something, right? We can do you can do something with this. You could maybe get results, but you shouldn't be going into it being like, yeah, I'm winning this whole event. Free
Well,
luck.
yeah, I would tell those people because I'm an asshole that they're still fucking up even when they like
Yeah, I
something.
mean, I'll tell them they're fucking
Yeah.
up. I'll be like, you
So,
just know
like,
you're not winning.
You could
like-
just say, yeah,
Carmen, I'm that guy. You're gonna catch these hands at locals tomorrow.
Yep.
You're gonna catch this memory snow at locals tomorrow.
Probably. I'm playing fucking like Bow Free, so
Go play unrestricted now, Carmen.
yeah, I'll just sleeve up unrestricted now. It'll be fun.
Be like, yeah, it's English practice, haha.
Well, can't wait to do that with my actual English Dow cards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna play ReZero.
I can't wait.
Yeah. You don't even go to locals, Brian. What are you talking about?
I've got locals here at home.
Locals of two. Me and you and Tyler.
Yep.
Right? When you have like 100 decks between each other.
We have a lot of decks, yeah.
I mean, yeah, all that being said, we can say you're fucking up for not bringing S3B. If you do want to bring something else on this list, these are things you could bring to a tournament and expect to do reasonably okay with. But I don't think any of us here, and even Andy, despite that comment, are saying that there's a not a hard drop off between like B and C. There's a drop off there.
No, yeah. I'm right there with you. I think the C and D and like even some of the other stuff that didn't make the cut, like I think you can still compete with those. But I think the top 5 is the top 5 and everything else is everything else.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I just like
the cutoff after Slime and maybe Sunshine. It's like
you're starting to get real dicey.
You're getting into Andy territory there. You're getting into like real spicy territory.
I mean, we like spicy decks around here.
Well,
So.
see, what I like more about talking about the C tiers is like is basically giving the reason why they aren't up higher, right? The discussions about them leads to their downsides and what lets them be not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why it's important to discuss. And like, yeah, maybe we got a little too finicky with trying to place them where they should be.
Which we do every time.
But that discussion also leans more towards showing the flaws with these decks because people then will speak out about more. No, this can't be better than this because the problem is also this, right? It highlights
how many dislikes we avoided by thoroughly addressing everything.
Yeah, why did you guys talk
all that time in adventure?
I'm sure we're still gonna get dislikes and hate comments because we didn't rate Kill a Kill. So, but you can't make everybody happy.
That also has anti-heal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right.
Kill a kill for D tier.
They got anti.
We're gonna get flamed because we didn't put mob on there.
Yep.
We actually
kill.
Yeah.
Just as good as
Mob is
Contai.
one to address. What?
Oh, why isn't Mob on this list? Because Mob's card quality is bad.
Really? I think
Just
Mob
gonna
could
be
be like
on.
at least D.
No, it cannot.
No, it's just not good
damn,
enough.
Our stock swap? Sick. This card's cute.
This is a third stock swap.
Yeah, she's depressed.
Stop talking about card of the day reveals. We're still recording.
Oh.
Oh, we are? I thought you said you cut it
Yeah,
off.
What are you talking about? No.
He said he was cutting off the discussion, not the
Oh,
video.
Oops.
Nice. Way to go,
Fucking
guys.
idiots.
Instructions
Anyway.
unclear.
Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap it up with Mob then. I think Mob, like, The card quality is obviously too low. None of the builds do anything relevant into any of the builds, even on this list. I think that if you played Mob, even into Memory Snow or Fate Grand Order, you can expect to have a rough time. Which were the two sets that we were like considering as
Mob
the cutoff
has no strength.
for even in there. It
I
does.
will admit,
Zero. Like, where's
Risu
that from Abysmal?
Shimakaze is way better than I thought that card was gonna be.
Oh yeah. Spoons is actually dope because it has
Yeah,
the high.
that's actually really cool.
All the
and it has
level-
a lot of synergy with later parts of the deck too.
All the
I
level
remember.
ones are scuffed as fuck. So you pick the one with the highest ceiling, and that's the spoons. That's the problem. Yeah. And like
The
it
deck
can
doesn't
feed
do
into
anything.
it can feed into either top end too if you decide to play it.
It's also really funny when then if you're playing like the choice stuff, so you're playing the like the 2-1 back row. That yeah.
Oh yeah,
the 2-1
it becomes a
back row.
10k.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's what I kept saying. It's like, oh, you get this like actual payoff for playing your level 1, unlike every other deck.
I played against it, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's like 9k. It's like, no, it's level 7. It's like level 6 now, so it's actually plus 2k. I'm like,
Yeah, and it has a bazillion markers. So yeah, that I think that's it on Mob. Is that acceptable, Andy? Is that an acceptable answer for Mob?
Yeah, I
But
guess so.
Mob, if you
I mean,
like
I
it,
still
not if
think
you
it should
wanna
be
win.
like up like. I still consider it the same level, something like a Memory Snow or like Persona
Why?
5. I still think
Why?
it's like.
Well, why? Why? Is
Yeah.
there like a reasoning other than vague feelings, or is this sort of just like a gut reaction?
Yeah, Axel
I don't
versus
mean I don't mean to come at you. I'm just like
No,
trying
no,
to.
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like the Regan finisher is like actually pretty solid, right? And I feel like the level 1 combos, like they're not the greatest, but they get there.
Well, this isn't about getting there.
I don't think the Reagan finish.
yeah,
I
is
think
it about getting this?
Very high sell, dude.
Getting there is ever. I know it's a new set and we want to like give handouts here, but like I'm not about like giving out like tier list welfare.
Like
Can't lie to people.
Reagan doesn't actually
No
do
stimulus checks.
Yeah,
For Taylor.
Reagan not doing anything is like a big issue with that.
I
Call
would
me-
not even
call me
give
Mitch
Mob a
McConnell.
0.5.
No stimulus checks.
Like
Too topical.
Like
it's
Reagan
like
is a
not,
finisher,
it's
you
like really
slam
hard
him
to
down.
sandbag.
He's a body, sure. You get what
You get check and
pseudo
wreck.
selective burn.
I mean, they got a good Ricky, they got good zeros, like
Yeah,
They
but there's a
have,
lot of
Zero
sets that
game
have
of Mob
good
is
zeros.
like
they
fine.
have a good Ricky.
Fake
and
Grand
that-
Order has
that's
good
about it.
zeros.
Mob's Ricky's really
Yeah,
good.
it's just a Ricky. The zeros
That's
are
a good
bad.
Ricky, that's only good zero.
And pan support.
They have pan support, but the rest of your deck sucks. So who
Yeah, like
cares
it
about
doesn't
having
matter if
pan
you get a
support?
toolbox into garbage.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, that
Like-
Ricky's sick.
Ricky is sick. Not gonna lie. Adachi.
Yeah,
is sick,
they printed
sure.
it in Aprilia.
Adachi's
Yeah,
really
the-
good.
the
The
Adachi's
original-
really
No,
good.
it's
Yeah.
different.
Cards so
Aprilia.
fucking matter.
Aprilia is on attack, pump 1k.
Like-
That's
Yeah.
experience on.
Oh,
play gives
so it's
2K.
better. Sure.
Yeah, the mob one's better.
What do you mean? No. The Ilya one's better.
No. On play.
Oh
gives
wait, they're
2K.
both experienced. They're both experienced. Never
Yeah,
mind.
they're both
Experience
experienced.
too.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Ilya gets to pump another 2k if you clean cut her.
Broken.
Yeah, it's Kuro, sir.
Kuro? Oh, it is the Kuro. Sorry,
It's the cuter one.
but yeah, but back to what's
Is
it called?
cuter.
Mob.
I don't know I don't know what else to say, Mob fans out there. I tried my best, but I really don't know a ton about the set. I just have my vague feelings.
I'm sorry, Andy. I just
Tried.
this is just an evidence-based podcast.
Yeah, we too many of us have played with and against it that it's like
Yeah.
no.
Like after Zero, like Mob really just doesn't have anything.
No,
You guys are
even at
lucky.
zero,
I
Mob
haven't.
does
You
nothing.
guys are lucky. I didn't play this set. I would have had something else
Oh,
to say.
sorry,
but
sorry. Mob had
Get off
soft
easy this
pop.
time.
Yeah, to be fair,
Mob
that
is-
Reagan level one is also really cool. That summons mobs.
That,
Oh, yeah.
I do like.
Yeah, that
card.
card's
That
dope.
sick.
Big fan.
Only if you have better mod.
I think the biggest problem with mob is that
Well, you
all,
just- you
all
just
of the
spawn
climax
mob.
combos are just bad.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all pretty bad.
All the climax combos are bad. Your auxiliary cards aren't are
No,
pretty
auxiliary
whatever as well.
cards are like the better part of it.
Yeah, they have
Your
pretty
early
decent
plays are
auxiliary
also,
cards.
like,
the climax
whatever.
combos.
Oh, it's like the
Yeah.
opposite problem with Adventure Time. Mob has all the glue and none of the substance, and Adventure Time has all the substance and none of the glue.
Exactly.
Like
yeah, they're-
it's literally the
they're
problem.
Perfect yin and yang.
Yeah. All right, and with that, this is the tier list of relevant sets. To wrap it up, this was like the big video. This took a lot of planning. This took a lot of organizing.
And our opinions
and-
all suck.
And yeah, you're right. And in terms of future content, we're at the Mercy of Bushi Road with the February reveals. We might branch out into some JP content if we're like running on a drought. We got some deck techs we want to do, things like that. But that review content and stuff, there's going to be a little bit of a break for that. So maybe we'll find something else to do. I know Jason and I want to do a pre-con A deep dive at some point. But other than that, other than the normal deck techs every other Friday, not much upcoming. Before we close it out here, does anyone want to do shout-outs? I know, Ryan, you got Strictly Broken, and then Kit, and myself and Jason for Burn 1. Does anybody else want to shout anything out? Dan, you got your event, right? You want to shout that out?
Yep. Dance Rants Trios Cup, February 20th, 2 p.m. CST. Remember, register. Registration goes up until the day before.
And it's trios. You need a team. So.
It is a Trios Cup.
Burn 2, baby.
Hell yeah. Me, Jason, and Hanson, because we can't split up Kit, Nico, and Dean. Kit, do you have anything specifically you want to say as the Burn 1 leader? No? Ryan, any other Strictly Broken stuff?
Shout out as always, Strictly Broken. Buy your English stuff there, etc., etc.
Hell yeah.
You Ryan.
Yeah, SPTCG Ryan. Doesn't work, but you can plug it in. you can let UA know.
Can I actually give a shout out?
Hell yeah, go ahead.
Can I give a shout out to the Weiss Fight Network website where you can play?
Yeah. Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Well, they changed the name. It's
WeissFight.net.
WeissFight.net. WeissFight.net. Where you can play Weiss Schwarz in your browser. If you've ever played Dueling Book or Dueling Network for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's similar to that. You would just plug in your Encore decks deck, and then you go.
Put the
also works on mobile pretty well.
So you can, because he takes feedback a lot too. It's like they're really trying to make it like real.
Yeah, like updates. Like
into it.
If you join the Discord, and I will link not only the app but also the Discord for it in the description. If you have feedback for the app for WeissFight.net, it'll sometimes get fixed within the same day. The developer is absolutely insane. So yeah, definitely give that a try. It's definitely a lot better than TTS. Actually, fuck TTS. Actually, fucking hate TTS. Weiss Fight is so much fucking better than TTS. It doesn't have a fucking bullshit algorithm, shuffling algorithm like TTS either. It has real shuffling. So no more of that bullshit either. But yeah, definitely check out WeissFight.net. I'll have that all linked in the description, as well as the Burn 1 and Strictly Broken channels. Does anyone else have anything else they want to say before we close it out here?
Shout out to Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah, sure. We can suck our own dick, I guess.
Shout out to Denny's for doing it.
Yo, shout out to Team Denny's.
Shout out to Denny's, yeah.
Autofellatio.
CT's Pizzas went bankrupt today.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, CT's Pizza.